Today, with the dust settling on pre-orders, it's pretty clear that Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be a huge seller. But does it make it Nintendo's best hardware launch ever? We're going to rank them.
It may eventually be the best-selling launch,
Yes.
maybe by a big margin if any of this information from the pre-orders is something to go by. But there's more that goes into just the best launch than just the best selling. There's the games, the experience with the hardware, just like the, oh, I'm wowed by this factor. So we're gonna go through every single Nintendo launch, decide what we think has been the best, and talk about how Switch 2 can maybe come out on the top of the list.
Where is it ranking among all of the other Nintendo hardware launches? You came up with some great criteria.
I did.
Which is nice. We're going to look at launch games. Like you said, we're going to look at cool factor. We're going to look at just, you know, whether or not the hardware at the time felt next gen.
Yes.
But it's going to be fun to look back and rank all of them. And then, we'll see where Switch 2 stacks.
Yes.
In that ranking.
For anybody who might be saying, well, the Switch 2 launch lineup's a little light. Doing our research, I reminded myself there was
another one.
There was a system that launched with literally 2 games.
Yikes.
Game 1 and Game 2. And that was it.
That was it.
That was all you got. Take your pick.
You know, like they say, when we were kids, we used to walk 15 miles in the snow.
To get the pre-order, I had to camp in the snow for 2 months.
With no shoes.
To play one game.
Only to play one game for a year and a half. When we were kids. These days, you don't know. With your lineup of, 20 plus whatever games. You don't know.
We'll get to that in just a moment, but we are now at the end of April into the start of May.
Wow.
Birthday month. Congratulations.
It's my turn now.
Yes, it's my turn now.
It's my turn
That's
now.
Krysta's personal slogan. Wow. We just have to acknowledge April's been our best month ever by a huge margin. So thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who subscribed. If you just found the channel, welcome. We are so glad to have you here.
I love the Nintendo Minute, kids. I love
Still
it.
finding us
I love
all
you
these
guys
years later.
The most. Don't tell anyone else. But if you're the kid that's like, I used to watch you on my 3DS, I love you the most.
Yes.
But it's been so fun to see this channel really grow over the last month. We've had such an exciting month as well. It was fun because we documented all of this in our April vlog.
Yeah.
And it's been nice for me to edit these vlogs just because it gives
Refresh your
us
memory.
a chance to reflect and look back on all the things that happened. And gosh, April was just like so much
literally
stuff.
one thing after the other.
Yeah, but
amazing.
It was fun to have it captured in that way.
It was,
so,
yes. So let's talk a bit about the pre-orders now, because the dust has settled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were spurts of inventory that popped up like over the weekend, but for the most part, it seems like this has run its course. We had a bit of a ranty video.
We were a little mad.
That happened. That we did that after the night of the online pre-orders going live. Do you have any fresher thoughts on this with a bit of time to salve the wound?
Yeah, I will admit that in the moment of recording that video, I was pretty upset.
Really? I couldn't tell.
I was definitely feeling it.
Despite all the table pounding, I just couldn't tell. The yelling.
The yelling and the screaming and the table pounding. I was pretty mad. I think what I have to say about that is, we did see like tons of comments about how can you blame Nintendo for this? This is not Nintendo's fault. It's definitely, up to the retailers for them to make this a better experience. To that, I will say that I do still think that it's both parts are at fault, Nintendo and obviously the retailers as well. And it's something that we've talked about before, is that none of these parties, whether it's Nintendo or the retailers, are really incentivized to make this process better for us, the people buying. Because for them, all that matters is that it sells out.
Right.
We used to be in meetings, and I'm a little ashamed to say that I used to be part of these meetings after a big pre-order, night, or after we hear about the results of a pre-order, where we would literally sit in meetings with like the highest Nintendo executives, big marketing meetings, where people would be clapping and cheering because the pre-orders, quote, broke the internet.
Well, first of all, shame on you. But second,
shame on me.
Second of all, it's true that when you work there,
shame on me. Yeah.
You do just have a system show up at your desk one day, and it would be interesting experience to have those very people who are sitting at the table clapping go through the same experience that all of us
They
did,
should.
and say, well, what do you think of this now?
Because I really did learn, like, this is my first time since leaving Nintendo going through this process. And I will fully admit that when I was working at Nintendo and we would hear about the success of pre-orders by the litmus or the benchmark of, we broke the internet, oh my God, we crashed all the retailer websites, go us, clap ourselves on the back, round of applause. People are cheering in the room for that kind of experience. And that's just not okay, because as someone trying to buy it, when that is happening, it's extremely frustrating and a very
and
awful
any sense of
experience.
fairness that you hope to have is just out the window.
It's out the window.
Because it's just this is pure chaos. Everything is out of my control.
Yeah, and I'm just
oh well.
I'm just trying to live
Yes.
second by second. So that's why I think we were pretty hard on Nintendo in that video.
And yeah, it's true. They're not running the pre-orders, but they have a lot of leverage that they can put on these
Correct.
parts. I mean, we just saw that, they've been taking the most drastic measure of all with Amazon of we're not giving you the stuff.
Right.
So
right. They have leverage.
They have a lot of leverage.
Yes.
And that is a two-way relationship so if they don't like the way it's going, they have things that they can do to signal that.
Totally. They totally have a way to signal that. They totally have a way to at least bring up. I don't even think they're even bringing up at all what the customer experience is like.
Right.
Because again, both parties are incentivized by one thing, which is it sells out.
Yes.
And that's what's happening. So no one is incentivized to make any changes. But I will say that I will continue to be hard on Nintendo because I was in the room when we would cheer for this stuff, and I definitely don't think that's the right attitude to have when your fans are having such an awful experience.
Right. And I will say, I had a very good experience standing in a GameStop
You did,
line
yes,
the next
thank
day,
goodness.
which was great.
Yes.
And so we definitely have a system that we'll be getting on day one, which is a great relief.
It's a big sigh of relief.
And I mean, that kind of was the counterpoint to the
Right.
chaos of the night before of, oh, there is some order to this if you just go stand in a line. And those stores had a surprisingly high number of units, and nobody seemed to really be sweating that out or stress that out. It was just a good vibe in the line, people chatting, people talking.
It did take you a very long time to go through the process. I think you started standing in line around 9 a.m.
I got there 2 hours before. The guy who was first in line said he got there 8 p.m. the night before. But I think if you showed up even 30 minutes before the store opened, you were going to get one.
But you did not leave GameStop until about 2 o'clock. So,
well, I had to answer all their questions
That's
about
what I'm saying,
joining their membership and getting the product protection plan. And sir, are you sure? I really recommend. No, thank you. We strongly recommend. No, thank you very much.
It's like the car warranty.
You need this undercoat, sir.
You need the undercoat. You got to protect the crystal undercoat protection. You need it. But it is. It just is a. I'm so glad that you had a good experience. I think a lot of people were saying the in-person line experience at GameStop was the way to go, and I'm so all for that. I think that's awesome that was an option. But just in general, the whole ordeal of pre-ordering this thing took hours, many
into
hours.
the night. Yeah, there were people who almost pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah, into the night. And then, of course, you physically stood in a line and waited from 9 to 2 p.m. So that's 5 hours of time that you were there trying to get the stuff.
I think you might have to do some output of time. But again, I think the fairness part of it is kind of what stings. Because again, it's well, if it can't be fair, then let's do the Japanese lottery. Because that it's okay, well, the number didn't come up in my way versus I did everything right and the thing just
crashed
and
out.
I still got screwed.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
That's where it stinks.
This is where Nintendo could have made a difference. If they said, hey, retailers, we're only going to give you allocation if you do the pre-orders via lottery.
If you or if you have
some other system.
Or if you have a line system where we saw Target just completely
we will only give you
dust.
We will only give you this allocation if you have an in-person line.
Yeah.
And you clearly communicate
or an online line. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Nintendo could have done those things. They could have been really out there saying we are going to withhold your allocation unless you do these steps to make this experience better for people.
Right.
But again, no one's incentivized to do this, so I doubt anything will change, in which case in 8 years we will be going through this again.
I guess more to come on this in about a week's time when the my Nintendo wave. Are we going to get an email? I don't know.
Oh gosh.
I mean,
yeah.
How How many Switch 2s does somebody need?
Again, I will give all my...
For safety.
Any Switch
I guess for
2s that
safety.
I am not... that we get, like if we do get one through My Nintendo, I'm going to give it to the community because I think there's still people in our community looking for a pre-order.
Get you being an Oprah Winfrey here.
And you get a Switch 2, and you get a Switch 2.
My gosh.
Look under your seats, everybody.
Incredible.
Oh my God, it's a Switch 2.
Speaking of another exciting thing that's happening, so our April spoiler cast is out for Split Fiction.
Yes.
Check it out. A great game that is
so fun.
that is soon coming to Switch 2. That's a launch game.
Yes.
Some months we take our time and we deliberate about the game for the next month.
Yes.
There's no such situation this month, though. We can definitively say the May spoiler cast game is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Yay!
A game that we started, we're going to talk about in the games we're playing, grabbed us right from the get-go.
Captured our hearts.
Seems to have
done this for many people.
Grabbed a lot of people's
Yeah.
attention. So we're really excited to dig
my
into
gosh.
this game this
Perfect.
month, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about and playing through this game. So yeah, stay tuned. We're going to talk about our experience with the first chunk of hours with it.
I'm so excited about it. So excited.
Next week, we are off, heading
Hooray.
eastward to PAX East. Our panel is on May 8th.
Yes.
In the afternoon. Please check the PAX site for the details. If you're going, we'd love to see you there.
Yes, please come say hi. We'd love to meet you in person.
I am so happy remember I've had shenanigans with my
Your PAX
legal
badge.
name, which is not Kit.
Christopher.
I'm Christopher. And when I go to get my badge, I go, "Sir, we don't have any kits here." They have worked this out.
Have they?
Yes.
How do you know that? How do you know?
I think some feedback has been heard.
From you?
Yes, and all the forms you got to fill out. They go, "We need to differentiate your legal name versus whatever you're going by. Please tell us as clear as you can." It's like, thank you.
So is your badge going to be under Christopher or under Kit this year?
No. They have got it all figured out.
Oh,
I can't wait to see this.
I can't wait to see them not figure it out and for
Hey.
you to be stressed out again and stress Discord messaging poor PAX staff for badges.
Fine, you can do the panel by yourself.
I won't.
Yeah.
Someone else can do it.
I'll be walking the streets of Boston and trying not to get
Punch
sucker
in the face.
punched.
You'll be eating a cannoli and walking the streets of Boston.
Dun-dun-dun with my cannolis.
This sounds so good. I'm excited about Boston.
Yes.
I haven't been there for 6 years. I think 6+ years.
It has. So if you're at the show, definitely track us down. If you want to say hi, come say hi. If you want to take a picture, we would love to do that.
We'd love to see you. Please come say
So
hi.
yeah, we're coming out to hang out with all of you.
Yes, exciting stuff.
Awesome. Let's get into our discussion of ranking every Nintendo hardware launch. But first, of course, we have our sponsor to shout out. This episode is sponsored by Notion.
Thank you, Notion.
There's no shortage of helpful productivity tools out there, but using them means switching back and forth between yet another digital tool. So instead of simplifying your workflow, it just becomes more complicated unless, of course, you're in Notion.
Yes, we talk so much about Notion. We've been using Notion for, I guess, over a year now at this point.
Yes.
And it's become indispensable to our, process of organizing all our stuff. We use it for all of our podcast notes and our run of shows. We use it to, organize all of our files. It's just been amazing. Definitely a game changer for us.
That point that I mentioned at the top about not having to switch around,
Yes.
that really means a lot to me
That's
because
a-
we've experienced that of where's the thing? Oh, it's here. Well, it's not. Oh, it's in the other app in the thing. It's
Yeah, I can't be bummed.
And then I'm already out of my mind space has been disrupted.
I'm giving up on this.
I can't do this right
This
now.
is where you get on me for being a self-proclaimed organizational queen.
I learned the hard way
and
that you're
I'm
really
not actually.
I learned the hard way that you really
it's
are
only
not.
organized in my mind, but
No.
with Notion, I can
No.
organize it for everybody.
Exactly. And the fully integrated Notion Assistant helps you work faster, write better, think bigger, doing tasks that normally take you hours in just seconds. So it's great.
Great.
We're for a two-person duo like us.
Yeah.
And used by over half of Fortune 500 companies, but that's not us.
It's okay, one day.
It's great if you're just a couple
Just a regular
people
person.
trying to do a thing too, just like
Yes.
we are, so that's great.
Yeah.
So try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/Kit and Krysta. That is all lowercase letters. Notion.com/Kit and Krysta to try the powerful, easy to use Notion Assistant today. And when you use our link, you are supporting our show, notion.com/KitandKrysta.
Putting the link here with the QR code and also in the description below.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so
Here
we mentioned how big the Switch 2 launch could be from a sales perspective. And Nintendo put out that notice that said, hey, we got 2.2 million people registering on just My Nintendo alone.
In Japan.
In Japan, yes. This analyst did the laziest thing ever. And they
Added
said,
some numbers
no,
together?
they times it by 3. Well, there's 3 major regions, so it looks like they're going to sell more than 6.6 million units. That's lazy.
That's so lazy. What are you actually
And it's like,
doing?
oh, way to put yourself out on a limb. Like, hey, I think this is going to be a big seller after Nintendo said
it's going to be the biggest launch ever.
It's already unprecedented demand. Oh, here's my official analyst prediction. Way to go. This is why you get the big bucks. But yes, there is a lot more that goes into having a successful console launch than strictly, unless you're the CFO. There's a lot more that goes into it than just the numbers. So we're going to go through both handheld and home console launch from Nintendo, and we're gonna rank them. And the criteria that you mentioned. So we have 3 criteria. We're going to rank each launch on these 3 different things. We're going to give it a number 1 through 5. The launch games, and for each lineup, I have pulled 3 signature games from day one.
Except for the one
except for the one that only had 2.
Whoops.
We're going to talk about the launch hardware because not all launch hardware is created equal.
True.
Some
We're more baked than others.
Some systems launch needing an update from day 1. Some systems, especially recently, launch needing
no updates for 8 years.
Whether it's from a physical sense or a software sense.
Yeah.
Or a refresh.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and then just lastly, there's a bit of wiggle here. How you want to define the wow factor.
The wow.
Am I dazzled by this new thing? Does this
Yeah.
feel next gen? Does this feel like a step up from what I've been doing? Do I want to show this off?
Does it feel cool
to people? Is it just super cool? Is it like can I just not
next gen?
stop thinking?
Does it feel cool to you when you look at this list of Nintendo launches and just think to yourself or just know that you have been there for every single one?
It's true.
You have been alive.
Well,
You've been on this earth.
I did not get the NES. I was not involved in the NES console launch. I got that one a little bit later. But after that, yeah, I was pretty much.
But you were pretty much like there,
waiting around, hoping to get it, wanting it, thinking about it, talking about it.
Yeah, either as a kid getting it from your parents, or later on in life getting it yourself. But like every single one of these. Like you were there.
Yes.
That's pretty cool, right?
That is an underrated thing.
Yeah. What an amazing life we've lived.
being in our age range.
That's right.
We got to experience all this stuff in the moment, which is very cool.
It's awesome.
Start with the NES, where it all started.
Right.
Back in '85.
Oh.
Wow. And the games that we are looking at for this are Super Mario Brothers. Wow. Iconic. Duck Hunt.
Oh.
Okay. And Excite Bike. To be clear, we're talking about the North American launch.
That's right.
Famicom, it was a different year with some different games.
Yes.
I wasn't there for that.
No, I was not alive.
I wasn't experiencing that.
Zygote.
No. So we're focused on the NES launch in '85. Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, Excite Bike.
Yeah.
Let's get into the ranking here.
Yes.
And I'll be keeping notes. So how would you rank these 3 games from 1 to 5? I mean, it's top heavy. Let's be honest.
It's very top heavy,
Yes.
but there is sort of like, I feel like there is some variety. There is like kind of something different.
Yeah.
It's not just like only 2D platformers, like not the only launch game, which is kind of nice. Hard to separate your feelings from sort of this idea that, gosh, this is where it all started, kind of, and like this is where this legacy started to become a real thing, and Mario came into the world and became like this legendary, iconic thing forever and ever. So it's a little bit hard to separate my feelings from that idea, but I would say that from a launch game perspective, I'll give it a 4. What do you think?
I think you could argue that this should be a 5, just because this Mario Brothers, just on its own.
Just on its own, yeah.
Like you could even remove just the other 2 games and be like, whatever. Because it did have, it immediately was attention getting. It was immediately different from stuff that came before.
Became an icon.
It became this iconic thing. But yeah, think we could. I'm fine if you want to go 4.
Let's go for it because I think
All
the
right.
other games are not, again, Mario definitely is carrying this.
Sure.
But, the other games are great, but I
right,
do
all
think
right.
could be a little better.
The hardware.
Yeah,
So
the
there
hardware.
was very late a hardware revision for the NES, but it's kind of so far down the line that it's
Yeah.
not even,
It's kind of inconsequential.
I don't
When
think
you
they were really thinking about that.
Yeah, when you think NES, you're really thinking in your head, and what I
The gray
owned
box.
was the gray box,
Yes.
which was at launch.
Right.
So the hardware pre-baked from day one.
And again, this is where, historically, like they were coming over the video game Crash. They wanted something that looked a little bit different. We worked with the guy, Lance Barr,
Who designed the
did the design for
packaging,
this.
yeah, and the design for the
And there was a
NES.
lot of thought that went into, like,
Right.
how can we indicate to people that this is not just another junky video game system. This is a new thing. This is going
Yeah.
to look sleek under their TV and fit in with whatever other things they
Right.
have. I think this should be a 5, actually.
I think this should be a 5
Yeah.
too. I totally think that it had like this like really unique form factor for the time, and it definitely had some like innovation too, with the controller and things like that. There was some innovation there that was like, wow, you're really bringing like the arcade to your house,
Yeah.
which is a pretty cool concept
Right.
at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now wow factor.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think the wow factor was pretty high considering
Pretty high.
most people were coming from stuff like Atari, which was very limited. NES introduced a new controller,
Yes.
which became just the de facto way of doing a controller for a long time. It had incredible longevity, really enabled people to do. I mean, certainly for myself, like the wow factor was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
oh wow.
I think the wow factor was totally there too, and I think the other thing that Nintendo really established in the NES era that became like a true identity for them is this idea of like gaming with your family.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I remember like everybody that picked up that NES controller in my house, my dad, my mom, myself, all different ages, all different skill sets, like everybody could play it. Mm-hmm. Like my mom was an expert at the Mario water level, and she doesn't play games, And that's like a real like this is what Nintendo does. Like they make it very accessible for people, and it kind of started with the NES. So I think it's a 5.
All right.
Wow factor.
Wow, very strong score
Wow.
for the NES out of the gate, getting a 14.
Whoa.
I'll be handling the math today.
You please do.
Adding up these 3 single-digit numbers.
Boy, math.
It's a tall task, so I'll be doing
I
that
can't do
today.
it. I cannot do
Next,
it.
we have the Game Boy in 1989,
Wow.
which is a really interesting one out of the gate. The 3 games we are considering are Tetris, Super Mario Land, and Alleyway. I had a
Yeah.
hard time picking the third game. There were a couple. There was like a tennis game. There was a baseball game, I think.
Kind of a sports kind of third.
Honestly, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter because the
Yeah,
first
Tetris
2,
carried it.
Tetris and Super Mario Land,
Yeah.
are the big heavy hitters here.
Yeah.
So in terms of the games, I mean, Tetris Game Boy is like one of the most
that's the most iconic game ever made.
iconic things.
Really,
And then you
yeah.
add on the fact that you had a Mario game. If you ask me, it's a very weak Mario game, but it's still
A Mario
a
game.
Mario game that people are like, if I kind of squint at this, and I can kind of get
I mean, they were
myself
so
there.
limited on the hardware. They did the best they could.
Right.
It's still a Mario game on a handheld.
Right. So I don't know. I lean 5 on this.
I think it's
I think
5.
this is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And all the backstory of getting Tetris is out
It's
there.
so
and it's
interesting.
super interesting.
Yeah, I love that.
Launch hardware. So I'm gonna have to score this a bit lower.
Yeah, this one, very ambitious and with the idea of handheld gaming.
There wasn't really anything like this at the
Exactly.
time. Like
No
the
comps,
closest
right?
thing was like those junky Tiger handhelds.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Sucked.
They were terrible.
They were awful.
And they were very much in like the throwaway like toy
Yeah.
category, whereas this was like an electronic entertainment
This was a premium,
device. Right.
gonna last
Yeah.
kind of thing.
But it had some issues. It had, some
Yeah,
major technological challenges.
you just couldn't see
couldn't see
this. You
it.
couldn't see the
I
screen.
mean, at night under my covers,
Right.
I could see it.
But even like outside, like in maximum daylight or like under a light, like even then, like the blur of the screen was
Yeah.
there.
That like puke green.
The color was really tough. So, and they did do a lot of revisions
They
to this
did.
later on to address some of those things. But even then, the screen always had a bit of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking like I'm gonna be generous and suggest a 3.
I was gonna say 3.
Because again, they were doing something new. and they were doing the best that they could with what they had available, and they wanted to make it affordable, so they
didn't do like
they made some compromises.
Yeah, it's just hard. Back in 1989, limitations, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wow factor.
Wow factor.
I mean,
I'm going to say this is not a 5.
No, because again, you did have some sort of like a little bit with the silly Tiger, handhelds or whatever, but it definitely didn't have the same kind of like wow factor as one of Nintendo's home consoles, like an NES.
Right.
And we already talked about some of the limitations with the hardware, so maybe a 3 or 4.
I'm thinking a 3 or 4 as well. All right, 3's fine.
Yeah, 3.
Just using my own experience, like I was in no rush to get a Game Boy.
That's right.
Like I had some friends who had one. I played theirs. Like, it's okay.
I eventually did get one, but I also upgraded to an advance like as soon as that happened.
Right. Yeah. I mean, by then we were well past 1989.
Yeah.
Well past it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's going to be
11.
an 11.
I did it.
Good for you.
Maths.
Okay. Do we have a tiebreaker? Maybe you should think of a tiebreaker in case we
coin.
we
Do we
might.
have a coin back
we're,
here?
we're not flipping a coin. We need something better than
The
that.
tiebreaker is Krysta gets to decide.
Super NES 91.
Ooh.
Launch lineup is Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings.
Wow. Epic stuff.
Pretty good lineup there. Launch games. I know you want to give this a 5.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Packed in, we should say. Packed in. Super Mario World was packed in.
Iconic stuff.
I think that does get it.
I mean, come
that gets it to 5.
Even the other two games.
The other two are really good.
F-Zero and Pilot Wings are great games.
They did show off, like, oh, look at all these graphical effects we couldn't do. Look at the speed of F-Zero.
Right.
Really different experiences too. Like I remember, I've been fascinated by Pilot Wings for a long time.
Where's the next Pilot Wings game?
Well, maybe after the 3DS one.
Oh yeah, that one was.
The bloom is off of that rose a little bit,
Well, they could maybe redo it a little bit.
I would love for them to try again.
Yes. With Switch 2. Give us like 4K Pilot Wings.
Yeah, but this is a very well thought out launch.
Very well thought out. Yes.
Launch hardware. Mm-hmm. So, the version we got in America.
The sort of the purpley
light gray.
With the light gray.
I would argue is inferior to the Japanese version.
I really like the little multicolored Japanese
with
version.
The rounded edges are
so
nice.
Cute.
Yes.
I mean, this is definitely like a stepping stone or whatever you want to call it. Like the NES form factor to the SNES form factor is very much, in a similar vein. So in terms of hardware, it wasn't like a huge whoa, it was a huge departure or anything like that.
Controller did introduce, we have shoulder
rounded, buttons. Sort of controller is a little bit more ergonomic shoulder buttons.
Very outstanding controller.
Yeah.
Powerful factor.
For the time, it was very powerful.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4. And then wow factor, we should say, so for each of these first 3 that we're talking about, there was no big launch day. It just kind of started showing up in stores.
They didn't do like pre-orders.
It was not like, oh, get it on this day, because they just didn't. It just started appearing, and you would start to hear like, oh, did you know that so and so got the new? Oh, what? Oh my gosh! Now I need to find this.
It was around the holidays ish, and
right.
so you would or something like that, where you would just like kind of see it in a store.
Were you the first kid in your neighborhood to get a Super Nintendo?
I was not.
I was not either.
Yeah, I had to like really convince my parents, so I needed time to work on them.
I had the friend whose parent did the business trip to Japan and like came back with like, wait, what's going on here?
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was like, my mind was truly blown.
Wait, the Japanese version?
I think so. If I remember, I think this person must have had the hookup, or I don't know what this person did.
Oh wow.
Who knows?
That would blow my little girl mind. I would be like, I want to be your friend forever.
What?
Yeah, there was one kid in my neighborhood that got it early.
Oh.
And then I remember everybody would go over to his house to play, and that's when I started to work on my parents. I was like, can we get this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow factor, I don't think it can be as high as the NES.
I think it's a 4.
4, because it was extremely capable, great system, but
definitely like just a kind of upgrade.
more of that.
More of that.
Better take on all of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, here's the one.
So from
stepchild.
from here on, there I do remember like, oh, get your Nintendo 64, pre-order it, and get it on this date. That's where that began. I remember doing that, and I did get mine on day one.
The system I didn't have.
This is Nintendo 64 in 1996. This is the literal 2-game launch lineup of Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64, and that was it.
That was it.
There was literally nothing else.
The only Nintendo system that I skipped.
Why?
N64.
Why though?
There was something going on. I feel like I was like kind of out of gaming that, I don't know why, that year. I can't remember why. And yeah, I remember it being like a little light on games too. And honestly, this is very blasphemous to say, but like it wasn't that wowed by a 3D Mario game at the time.
Oh, we're gonna have to fight over this.
I was like,
oh no.
It looks okay.
Oh, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight over this.
I don't know. I feel like I got on board more once I played Mario Kart at my friend's house on her N64, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Up until Breath of the Wild, Mario 64 is my favorite game. But I don't think I can give this a 5 just due to the fact that there were 2 games. And literally 2 games, and it was a wait after that. Like,
you played Mario 64 for how many years?
I played it nonstop for many, many months until I even got another game.
Right, because there were no other games.
Because they really weren't there.
There were no other games.
Yeah, I think the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire I got a little bit after that. But yeah, it was just let the wait begin. I mean, that was the story of that whole system. You're waiting.
Just waiting.
You're just tapping your foot waiting. Which there was a big opportunity for the PlayStation.
I'm gonna let you cook on this one because I didn't own the system, so you pick.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give it a 4 in terms of the games.
Can't argue with that.
The launch hardware, it's divisive because a lot of these games, you really do need that controller.
Control scheme was so interesting and different.
To experience it, but it's still, even then, and especially now, it's a weird controller.
It doesn't really hold up to the test of time.
So for me, honestly, like I appreciate it for what it is and the things that it enabled, but it was unusual in a lot of ways.
It was a big challenge for me to get used to it at all.
But it was a huge step up. It did really, introduce 3D at around the same time the PlayStation did. It did use the cartridges, which was this was the fork in the road for a lot of the industry.
Yeah, CD-ROM or cartridges.
And it led to the games being a lot more, very similar to a conversation we're having now. The games started to get super expensive again versus the PlayStation, where it's like, oh, it's $50 versus $80. Forget this per game. Why am I going to do that? So. I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3, even though I personally am very fond of the Nintendo 64.
Of course, but for nostalgia reasons.
The wow factor. Now, I can't get on board with you saying that Mario 64 was not a wow game, because you just had not seen 3D games like that really at all up until that point.
Yeah,
and
I guess.
How perfectly Mario got translated into 3D.
I think I just had a really hard time playing it. Like I couldn't. And you know me, I'm really bad at 3D platformers.
Yes.
And like you saw that firsthand when we were playing Split Fiction. I truly just like could not do a lot of the stuff. Like I couldn't do it. And so it was frustrating for me. But I understand the idea of it being like wow in the sense of like you're seeing something that you've only seen in 2D, in 3D for the first time. That definitely is a wow. But in terms of the gameplay, like it was harder for some people to actually play the game.
Yes. I'm gonna say we should give this a 4 because again, like there was a big wow to that. But again, if you started to scratch beneath the surface, you could see kind of how shallow the pipeline of games was for this.
Right.
And that did kind of take some of the excitement off of like, oh, I want more experiences like this. And they're just kind of not there. And again, like you have to contrast it with the PlayStation, which was just taking off, it really limited what the Nintendo 64 could accomplish. So I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
So that is another 11 for us.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You didn't do that.
Oh, we didn't add up this. That gets 13 for the SNES.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay. So our current leader so far is the NES with 14. Oh my gosh, that's a really high score.
Very high score.
GameCube In 2001, the launch lineups we're going to look at are Luigi's Mansion, Super Monkey Ball. Is that our first third-party game that we're introducing?
I think so, yeah.
And Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. They did have Smash Brothers very soon after, but that doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Not a day one launch.
It's a launch
title,
window game, but it's not a day one.
And then they had Double Dash pretty soon after as well.
That was later, yes. That was later. So I think this is not as strong of a launch lineup. I mean, people love Luigi's Mansion. It's become a very good series.
But at the time, it wasn't really that.
But look every other one. We've had like the big, like groundbreaking Mario
next
game.
New groundbreaking Mario.
And this just was not that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tier below that. Super Monkey Ball is a great party game.
Oh yeah.
Again, become a very popular and successful franchise. And then Star Wars Rogue Squadron, that was kind of the technical showpiece. I don't imagine you had that, but I did. Yeah. And that those graphics that was a wow factor to that. That was like, oh wow, this is a really capable system.
If only they had Shrek as a launch game. That would have made it a 5 right there.
Let's see.
Launch line, I'm gonna say 3.
I'm gonna say a 3 as well. I might even argue that that's a 2. But let's be generous. Fine. Give it a You're
3.
a GameCube kid. We can go 3.
I am a GameCube kid.
Launch hardware.
I like the launch hardware. I thought it was actually pretty cool.
Came in different colors.
Yep.
You didn't have to get the purple one.
Nope. You can get the gray.
Yes. You can get the black one.
You can get the black.
Also, black also, yes.
It has cute little handles.
Could be a pro or a con.
I like the controller a lot.
Never got a revision.
Also short lifespan though, short lifespan.
Also with the N64, never got a revision.
Yeah, but I thought the form factor was pretty cool at the time. Like it felt like very, I don't know, it's kind of like, I keep thinking about this in the era that it was in, where it was like, where we get like the little like iMacs and little like kind of, that kind of tech, where it was kind of cute. It was a little bit like, different than what you imagine an electronic device look like.
The GameCube controller we have to talk about.
Which I love.
I love it a little bit less, maybe a lot less.
I think this is a 4. I think this is a 4.
Yeah, I think I can get on board.
I think it is.
I think I can get on board with a 4.
Yeah, the GameCube controller is pretty like.
Yeah.
It's that has really sustained the test of time. People still use it now.
This was in the era of the PS2 and the Xbox, and in terms of like visuals, it was right in the middle of what it was capable of. So, and this was kind of the generation where they were maybe just more focused on that,
like graphics and
beyond
stuff.
other innovations.
Right.
Interestingly, but they did that well. So yeah, fine, a 4, fine.
Okay.
Wow factor.
A little crowded space.
Yeah.
Where the GameCube launched. I feel like I was actually wowed by some of the other consoles a little bit more.
Okay, let's go. Were you more or less wowed by a GameCube than a PlayStation 2?
No, I was more wowed by a PlayStation 2.
Because you could play a DVD.
Yes.
Yes.
And
among other things.
I wanted to play Final Fantasy.
And it had Final Fantasy.
I really liked
Were you more or less wowed than an Xbox?
I was more wowed by the GameCube because at that time I wasn't really into Xbox.
I was intrigued.
I didn't really get into Xbox until 360.
I was intrigued by the Xbox. I did not get an Xbox on day one, but I was intrigued by it. I wouldn't say I was immediately wowed.
That's right.
By it.
I was like, I'm gonna watch this, but I'm not like gonna go out and like buy it.
No. Xbox we're not ranking Xbox 360 wow factor is like maybe like
it's like a
6.
It's like a 10.
It's incredible.
100.
Yeah. Wow.
That's where I got into. Anyways, this is not what we're doing.
So this is going to be a 3 or a 4.
I think it's probably a.
we can't do half numbers. We're not doing that. We're not compromising ourselves.
I love GameCube so much, but I think I have to give it a 3.
Great. I'll let you say it, not me. So that 10. That's our lowest score yet.
Oh no. Lower than Game Boy?
Yeah, Game Boy got 11.
Oh, because
Game Boy got the top.
The
guy has
the
Tetris.
Game, that's what happened.
Game Boy Tetris.
Dang it,
Do not mess with Game Boy Tetris.
Your launch day lineup is a little shaky. Okay.
Some of these lineups do get a little shaky in the next couple where they get shaky.
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance now. We're not doing Game Boy Color. People debate whether Game Boy Color is its own generation.
I don't think it is.
And I just don't think it would score very well anyway, so we're not doing it.
Let's just skip over to Game
Boy Advance. Yeah. 2001, also 2001.
Why do I think Game Boy Advance came out so much earlier than 2001.
It didn't.
That's so weird.
Are you thinking of the Game Boy Color?
Maybe.
Maybe that's what you're thinking
Yeah.
of. The 3 games, and this was another one where there was not a definitive 3 games, but the 3 that I'm saying are Super Mario Advance, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and Castlevania Circle of the Moon.
You didn't talk about Castlevania Circle of the Moon when we were talking about Castlevania a lot.
It's not become the most loved one of these. I still like it.
I didn't play this game.
Again, the problem, and this feeds into one of the problems with the hardware. You could not see it. It was a pretty dark game on a system that had no light.
Yeah.
So you were still, it's like you were back in 1989, like, I cannot see this. So when it comes to
light.
So let's remember that when it comes to talking about the hardware.
Okay,
so the lineup, Super Mario Advance is a remake. Tony Hawk.
That's pretty cool.
The Tony Hawk games on GBA and on, like, those were pretty cool.
Those are pretty cool, yeah.
And really, like, an interesting take on that.
I definitely played that game on a Game Boy.
And Castlevania, like, again, you can argue with it, but it's continuing the Symphony of the Night style on a handheld, which was cool. But I'm going to propose a 3 for this.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Will anything get less than a 3? I think it will. Looking ahead,
I feel like I already see one.
I think there's one that's going to get less than a 3.
I think I already see one.
The launch hardware. Now, this is one where they pretty quickly turned around that GBA SP.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Which was, that's an incredible system.
That was incredibly better.
That's an incredible system.
Yes, that one had the wow, this one did not.
This one really had a very low wow factor.
I think like a 2.
I think a 2 actually in terms of the hardware.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, this is not wow factor, this is hardware.
Yes.
Yeah, it just like,
It just wasn't like quite there. They should have just waited.
It was great.
And released SP.
It was great to have those Super NES style games. Like the visuals were great, but you just could not.
I mean, you
could not see
couldn't
them.
see it.
You could not see
them.
them.
Play it, which is unfortunate.
So I have to ding it. You had to buy the worm light.
Yes,
you had no chance but to buy the worm light.
I bought it.
Everybody had the worm light.
I had it because they had to.
Jeez.
It's so sad. How much money did we spend on that thing?
The worm light?
No, the whole enchilada.
What are you talking about right now?
The
whole of what?
The Game Boy Advance plus Warm Light. How much was that?
I don't think the Game Boy Advance was too expensive.
But at the time, 2000.
Don't do that. Oh, I'm adjusting for inflation now.
No, I'm just thinking
don't do
about
that.
my income in 2001.
Well, your income was probably zero.
No, I think I had a part-time job in 2001.
Delivering newspapers?
I was like a tutor or something. I must have saved.
It wasn't for math.
It wasn't.
Or spelling. Wow factor.
Oh man, 3. I wasn't really.
Let me think about this.
I wasn't really wild. It was okay.
Yeah.
I bought it though. I wanted it.
As the library filled out,
it was good.
It became a really impressive library. But I did not get this day one. And again, I remember looking at these launch games and being like, I don't need this right now. They did tout the connectivity.
That's right.
The GameCube.
Yes.
Which they had in a couple high-profile games, but even that feature was not.
The link cable?
Yes, the link. Like there were
link cable.
Very few examples of that being a substantial thing. 3.
That's what I said.
3.
That's what I said. Ooh, this is our lowest one now.
That's an 8. Yikes.
Sorry, Game Boy.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Nintendo DS, 2004.
Launch lineup.
This may be a controversial selection of the launch lineup. So Mario 64 DS.
Okay.
Feel the Magic XX and XY.
Ooh, sexy.
And also, I wrote the Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt. That's a demo.
That's right.
This is the demo that was included. This is not the full game. This is just a demo. It was a little flimsy.
Pretty flimsy.
After Super Mario 64, it got a little flimsy. Fast.
Feel the magic, though.
That was another one of those games.
Very sexy.
Where I was just hungry. I want games. I want games to.
I want to touch it.
To test drive the system. Touching is good. I'm ready to touch, but I just couldn't get over it to buy that game.
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't. I was like, I can't justify spending. I don't know, it was like $40. I was like, I can't.
This is a Sega game, right?
Playing some like glorified like phone or PDA. Again, PDA game
PDA.
Of back in the time.
Bejeweled. That was the
I can't justify spending $40 on this.
Oh man, 2004.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 64 DS. It's a good. I mean.
I I mean, it wasn't really that good.
I have a lot of conflicted feelings about this version.
It was okay.
Because
the mini games, though, the mini games.
Oh my gosh, the mini games are incredible. Oh.
Bring that back into its own game. The mini games are pretty good. I think it's a 3, though. It's pretty flimsy.
Yeah.
It's pretty flimsy.
Yeah,
you can't two ways about it, you know?
Just all the control stuff you could do on the N64 with that controller, you could not do. And they told you to try that little nubbin, and I almost broke my thumb off trying to use that. It just did not work.
The nubbin was hard. It was to control the camera. I remember that was like impossible. I'm like, I can't even play this with an actual controller. How can I play it with this thing?
Gaslit about a nubbin. Gosh.
Oh no, a nubbin.
Next is launch hardware. So this was the DS Fat.
Yeah, that was not a pretty system.
Again, relatively quickly, we had the DS Lite, which was a beautiful, perfect thing. And later on, we had the DS XL. Oh my gosh, this is getting even better. I can't believe it.
I don't know. The initial Fat was not the best.
But aside from the form factor, it's not like the Lite. It's not like the Lite where there was something like really drastically missing.
That's true.
About it.
The form factor was ugly, but the idea of a touch screen.
It had the Wi-Fi. You could use it for that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
The touch screen.
The touch screen was good. This is where I finally discovered my Wario touch.
But the form factor is really probably not something that should have seen the light of day. So I'm going to propose a 3 for this. Okay. Did you have a different thought?
That's fine.
Well, what were you going to say?
I was going to say 4, but that's fine.
Oh, really?
It's fine. 3.
I think it should be a 3. And then the wow factor.
I was not convinced of the touchscreen until I played that Wario game.
Is that before or after you had? So you did not have the system until
I did not have it at launch.
Had you played it before then? Had you played a DS before then?
No.
No. So you just didn't know. Do you think if you had played any of these games before then, you was like, I get it now?
Maybe. I do think that when they were like, when it was being talked about, and it was just like, commercials and news articles about it, I was like, this is dumb.
I got it day one. I would not say I was immediately wowed, but again, I was immediately intrigued. I was like, there's something to this. There's more to this than maybe I thought. I am hoping that in the future we get more experiences that once developers figure out how to use this, then we'll be talking.
Once I played that game, though, I was like, I'm so in.
Right.
I totally understand.
But it was immediately very different, very cool. It felt, again, having all that online stuff in a little system, surprisingly capable with graphics.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a 4.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it's a 4. And that gets us...
Revolutionary.
That gets us a 10. All right, we're back on the upswing.
Oh.
We're back. We're coming back up. Just like Nintendo. We're coming back.
That's right. The hockey stick.
The comeback is on. Wii. 2006.
Ooh.
I think this could be a very high number.
Oh, yeah.
Launch lineup. Wii Sports. Zelda Twilight Princess. The third game, I debated between Red Steel and Rayman Raving Rabbids.
Oh, it's a great game.
You'd rather have that?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Rayman.
Then it's a 5.
What?
Immediately 5. Yes.
Because
those are the 3 games.
Because of Rayman?
These are the 3 games that I had at launch for this.
Did you like Rayman?
I loved it.
Oh,
I absolutely
I had that
loved
too.
that
I had
game.
that too, but I didn't.
I would love another Rayman.
But we don't need it. It's a 5.
It's 100% a 5.
In terms of games,
it could be a 6.
Launch games, it's a 5. Yes. The 1-2 punch of Wii Sports and Zelda. Like, I was just trading off. Like now time for this, now time for that. Now this, now that.
It's perfect. You got people over.
Right.
Your family's there. You got play some tents.
Right.
And then like you're like at home and you're like playing Zelda and crying.
I don't even like Twilight Princess, but I have to acknowledge.
Oh, it's like one of the best games.
I don't even like Twilight Princess.
But like,
there's that meme that's going around like, oh, which Zelda game has to go? It's that one.
No, it isn't.
It is.
This is where you.
But I still give it a 5.
This is where you and I trade off like stabs to the heart. I tell you Mario 64 was only okay, and you tell me Twilight Princess is only okay.
I'm not proposing that this needs to be a 3 because of. I'm saying it should be a 5.
It's a 6.
It's a 5.
It's a 10.
It's a 5 because of Wii Sports.
It is so good. What a magical.
Packed in. For us.
Thanks, Reg. What a magical launch lineup this is, huh?
Yeah.
Do you remember how hyped we were?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Launch hardware.
I mean, I was wowed.
Well, this is not wow factor. This is launch hardware.
Launch hardware pretty good.
Launch hardware.
Launch hardware was good.
I had that Wii remote.
Wii remote. I will say that the stupid little sensor bar.
Yes.
My sensor bar was chewed through by my cat the day after I got my Wii.
Came out. Remember, day one they were not having the wrist strap, so people were throwing the Wii remote through the TV.
Through the TV. They did not. They had to do something.
Is that a mark against this?
Well, it's not.
I don't think
their
so.
fault.
So
Hold on to your remotes, people.
So the Wii itself never really had a major hardware, and I'm not counting the Wii Mini in your little Vancouver ski chalet.
Oh, yes.
I'm not counting that, but you did get Wii Motion Plus and an enhancement to the Wii remote.
Yeah, and they had that little
that
sock thing.
Yes,
I was gonna say the other word.
An elongated sock. So, I'm still gonna propose that this is snap out of it. I'm still going to propose that this is a 5.
I think it's a 5.
I think it's a 5.
I think everything is a 5.
Because I think for a lot of people, they couldn't tell
we're debating this.
They couldn't tell the difference between just what I'm doing in Wii Sports is translating into this game somehow. I don't know how this works, but it's working.
It's great.
You don't actually understand how limited. That's the beauty of that game.
Remember how that Wii had a little microphone on it too? And it was
it's a speaker. It's not a microphone.
Whatever, speaker.
5.
Obviously 5.
And then wow factor.
Obviously a 5.
I mean, how could it be?
Seniors were bowling, guys.
You really like to talk about the bowling seniors.
I loved it. I loved it.
Why?
It's cool.
It's a heartwarming story for you.
It's
Great.
a deliciously heartwarming story for me.
So the Wii is getting a perfect score.
It is, because it was awesome.
I do think this is...
It's well deserved.
This needs to be in the conversation for the best one.
I mean, it was incredible.
It was. It was a phenomenon.
It was a phenomenon.
It was all people could talk about.
Yeah, I remember the legacy.
It was a must-do activity for all those holidays after. Yeah.
Yeah, and I joined Nintendo 1 year after the Wii launched, and the fervor, the need that people were still having a year later, just dying to get one of these things was like an incredible thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right,
go.
A system that will not be getting a perfect score is the Nintendo 3DS, which came out in 2011, with a whopping launch lineup of this: Pilot Wings Resort, Nintendogs Plus Cats, and Super Street Fighter 4.
Is now that I'm looking back at all your data, is Pilot Wings is the game that's been in the most launch lineups?
No.
So SNES.
There's only 2.
No. SNES, Super,
and 64.
And 64.
Yeah, it's a common launch game.
Very common. Well,
right.
Why Pilot Wings?
And you notice I omitted the Great Steel Diver.
Ugh.
The greatness of Steel Diver.
That's like negative points. negative 10. negative 10. Oh gosh, this was rough. This was real rough.
So in terms of the launch lineup, I mean, I'm thinking 2.
Yeah,
or maybe even a 1. I don't know.
2.
I think
Nintendogs Plus Cats was.
There were some other hidden. I talked so much about the Ghost Recon game. There were some hidden gems,
but still
in the launch. So, but 2.
But very limited.
It had no heavy hitters.
No.
Nothing that was making you like, oh my gosh, I must get this right now.
Right.
Very sad state of affairs for the 3DS. Launch hardware. So
I think it was pretty cool. Launch hardware. Like it has.
It did eventually get the 3DS. I mean, we got so many revisions to the hardware.
But at the start, the form factor was pretty much there.
And it had all the functionality in it.
It had all the It had a really nice, glossy finish. It had the 2 colors.
I always thought the screens on the launch 3 were a little small.
Yeah,
on the launch 3DS.
Inconsequential too. Sure.
It's kind of consequential.
I mean, fine.
It's
Just hold it closer to your face. Who cares? I think the hardware is actually pretty cool.
Okay, I was actually thinking 3, but maybe
I think 4.
you seem excited about a 4.
I think a 4 is good.
4.
It deserves a little. If the fault of this was really the launch lineup, not the hardware.
But look, I mean, once we had that 3DS XL, we were really cooking then.
We really cooked for a long time. And then it was it did very well.
That was an incredible system.
Yeah.
Had the Circle Pad, which was nice.
Right.
But not the Circle Pad Pro.
No, not that.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, but then you got your big screens. You were very happy then. Very happy.
Okay.
Anyways,
wow factor. So I would argue the wow factor is very high, actually.
The wow factor was
I am still wowed by glasses-free 3D.
You are?
To this day, I'm like, I don't want to play. To be clear, I don't want to play a whole game with it. But when I was like, wow.
But when you turned it on for the first 2 minutes, you're like, that was cool.
How has nobody else tried to do anything with that since then?
3D is out though. People are not into it.
But that
was the era of 3D TV.
As the technology gets better, I'm sure there's some.
People are not really improving the technology.
I'm sure that 15 years later, there's been some innovations in glasses free. We just haven't seen it.
But do we want to see it?
I don't know. But it was a wow.
I mean, it was
that
a
first E3, like that was wow.
When the women came out, that was a wow.
Oh my gosh, wow. Street Pass was a wow. Like
Yes.
I don't even know what this is, and now
Launch
it's like
event when we threw our paper glasses into the air.
I wasn't there.
That was a wow.
And it's like, oh my gosh, Street Pass. Like I'm building my life around Street Pass now. I'm walking down strange dark alleys to look for a Street Pass.
Hoping to meet
it's a 5.
The man of my dreams via Street Pass.
I actually think it needs to be a 5. I feel strongly it should be. Well, this is the strangest selection of scores. It got a 2 on games, 4 on hardware, and 5 on WoW. Wow, that's strange.
11.
So that gets an 11.
I
wasn't sure. It got higher
WoW.
than the DS. Very interesting.
Well, DS was DS.
Is this right?
Yes, it is right. Okay.
Okay,
next.
Wii U.
Oh boy.
Wii U. We have for our games Nintendo Land, also packed in.
Yes.
New Super Mario Brothers U, and I chose Zombie U.
That's a good one.
As the third game.
That's a good one because that would really use the functionality
rep
of the
third
hardware.
parties, rep what the system could do.
Yeah.
Launch games.
Well,
it's not. It's not great, but it's also not terrible.
it's not terrible.
It's
you
not-
did get a new Mario game.
Right.
It was a lazy Mario game.
It's a very serviceable 3D Mario game, though.
Serviceable. Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Nintendo Land.
There's a couple of little things in there that were fun.
I'm sure you could find something in there.
Yeah.
To while away sometime.
Sometime you can play your little hide and
It's not
go
Wii
seek or
Sports,
whatever.
but we all knew that.
Yeah.
And then Zombie U was. That's pretty.
It was an innovative use
okay.
of the gamepad and the who can forget Reggie's zombie face? Like that was cute. Maybe a 3?
I'm thinking, does this deserve a 4?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Definitely better than the 3DS though. So 3.
Yeah. Launch hardware. Very poor.
Very. I mean, we've.
But
very
from
poor.
but
From a technological.
This is the first case where it's not from a the physical form factor. We're actually talking about the software running.
It did not work.
How long it took to load up a game.
How many patches did we have to get? It was bad.
Right.
It was bad.
My infamous story about the game crashing 6 consecutive times.
It crashed so much.
At the holiday get-together.
2.
That impacts the wow factor too.
2. And it just never felt right.
I like the game. I like holding the gamepad.
It's too heavy.
I'm gonna say it's a 3, but the wow factor is getting hurt as a result.
Oh yeah, I think it's a 2.
The wow factor is going to be a 2.
Oh. Yeah.
So that gives it an 8.
Okay. Is it okay? So this is tied with Game Boy Advance now.
Tied with Game Boy
score.
Advance for the lowest score.
For the lowest score.
Right. And then things just continued to go downhill from there. Nintendo Switch.
Yay!
Oh,
Back in the upswing.
we're so back.
We're so back.
Launch games: Zelda Breath of the Wild, Snipper Clips, and 1-2 Switch. So once again, we're being very
We're carried by Zelda.
heavily carried.
But Snipper Clips is a great game.
Snipper Clips is great. 1-2 Switch is not.
Right.
But
They cancel each other out.
I think this should be a.
I think it's a 5.
It's a 5. Yeah.
Let's not debate that anymore. Yeah.
Launch hardware. Out of the gate, the Switch hardware was
pretty great.
Pretty darn on the nose, close to perfect. We got the OLED later, but nobody was like, "Oh gosh,
I have to upgrade."
I need this up. I need this change right now.
And there's so many people that say they have just been hanging out with their original Switch for the entire generation.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to think about.
I'm writing 5.
5.
We don't even need a debate. And then
5.
wow factor.
I was wowed.
Pretty high wow factor.
Console you can take on the go.
Pre Steam Deck.
Changed my life.
There was not really anything like this out there.
Yeah. It just gave you this new habit.
New ways to play.
Yeah, you had
anytime, anywhere with anyone.
You really had I really built a new life habit around the Switch.
Yeah. All right.
5.
Wow.
Tied with Wii for the
we have a tie at the top.
Perfect score.
Oh, we're going to need to. You better start thinking about that tiebreaker.
Krysta gets to choose. That's the tiebreaker.
Okay, so Switch 2.
Here we go.
This is hypothetical. The Switch the launch has not happened.
Right, but we know enough information.
I
think
we can attempt.
Yes.
We can hazard a guess.
Yes.
So for games, I have chosen Mario Kart World, the Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions.
Nice,
Sorry,
nice.
I'm combining 2 games
That's
into
fine,
one.
that's fine, that
Hopefully
makes
that's
sense.
not cheating. And I also chose Deltarune 1 through 4.
Yeah, we were thinking about which third-party game.
I could not put Welcome Tour into this list.
That would, again, negative points.
Right.
I think this is good because Deltarune is one of the new.
It's a new game.
Yeah, not like a third-party game that's been on other consoles coming to
Yeah,
Switch.
I wouldn't feel good putting that on the list either. So, obviously, Mario Kart is what most people are here
Yep,
for.
and there is a bundle, obviously.
But it is a big launch lineup, and
It's pretty great.
these enhanced versions are a very intriguing idea. They're being handled in a number of different ways. I'm thinking
4.
I'm thinking 4,
I think 4 too.
as well.
Yeah, I think 4 too. Now they packed in Welcome Tour. Now that would be a 5. Just kidding. Just kidding. But 4. I think 4 is the right score for it.
Launch hardware. I don't really see anywhere I can ding the hardware.
The hardware looks amazing.
The hardware seems like a 5 to me.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we wanted, which is a bigger, better Switch.
It seems to be.
And it seems to be
very capable from a technical standpoint.
And it's like slick and beautiful, and the magnets work.
We have magnets now.
Yeah, it becomes a mouse, like all the things. It seems
I,
great.
I don't have any criticism
5.
of the hardware.
5.
It's a 5, and then the wow factor. It just can't be a 5 when the Switch got a 5.
It's right. It has to be a 4 because I'm not really as wowed because it's just a bigger, better Switch.
I mean, again, everybody who's touched it and played it, very impressed.
Yeah.
But I think it just has to be slightly lower.
Exactly.
So it's a 4.
Yeah, that's a great score.
So that is presumably getting a
14.
13.
Oh, 13.
13?
Yes.
13. So let's go through, after going through all of them, let's go through our rankings.
Are we going bottoms up or top down?
I'll go bottoms up as best I can.
Okay.
With an 8, we have the Game Boy Advance and the Wii U.
Uh-huh.
With a 10, we have the GameCube and the DS. With an 11, we have the Game Boy, Nintendo 64, 3DS. Did anything get a 12? I don't think anything got a 12.
Nope.
13, Super NES and Switch 2. I didn't get a 4. Oh, NES got a 14 and then 15 at the top tied. A tie which Krysta will soon break. We have the Wii and the Nintendo Switch. So please, Krysta, tell us, what is the greatest Nintendo launch ever?
Oh gosh, I don't want this job anymore. I think it's the Wii.
Hard to argue.
Personally think it's the Wii.
Hard to argue.
You guys can tell me what you think. What do you think?
Global phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It truly brought Nintendo back from the dead, kind of. And
Yeah, even when the Switch was coming out and doing as well as it was, it never felt the same way that the Wii did.
That's right.
Of everybody was talking about it. Everybody was curious.
It broke through
Yeah.
to the most mass
Right.
audience you could possibly think
Yeah.
of. Yes, it did fall off a cliff at the end,
Yeah.
but there were these moments that people still talk about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, remember the Wii? We were doing these things, or this happened, or this has become a cultural phenomenon and
Yes.
something that you'll remember as part of history.
Yes.
Forever.
Put it in the Smithsonian.
That's what I'm
Put
saying.
a Wii in the Smithsonian. Wow.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you agree?
I do agree.
Okay.
No disrespect to Nintendo Switch and the incredible things that system accomplished.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just felt different, and it just felt big in a way that the only other thing that I can attach it to is the first months of Pokemon Go, where just everybody in the
Phenomenon.
street is just
Truly a phenomenon.
everybody, not just people who grew up with games, love games, want to
Right.
play games. Everybody was doing it.
And codename for the Wii was Revolution, and truly,
Oh, yeah.
it was that.
It was.
It fulfilled its prophecy,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
as that.
We asked our Patreon subscribers what they think. Gartooth agrees with us. I've had a positive experience with a lot of Nintendo consoles at launch, but the Wii was something else.
Aha.
I've never seen a new game console I got for Christmas completely take over my family's attention on Christmas Day. Everyone was either laughing, trying to recreate each other as Mii's. Oh, we didn't even talk about Mii's. Or totally enthralled by Wii Sports. Even though other consoles had launch games I preferred, the Wii really gave that strongest feeling of pure gaming magic out of the box.
Well said, Gartooth.
Kevin Moreno says, I would probably say the Game Boy launch with Tetris, mostly because it's one of the few bundles that manages to get both kids and adults into gaming that led to the rise of portable gaming.
Yeah, another history.
Did we talk about Tetris being packed in? Did we talk about that?
Yes, we did.
Good.
Another history-making moment with
Yes.
Tetris and Game Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Kayak says, 3DS. I remember taking my regular DS and trading it in at Rhino Video Games for the shiny blue one. The glasses-free 3D and games that involved using the camera, which were included for free, were mesmerizing. Even today, it is wildly impressive. I don't think any other launch has been that impressive from the word go. The wow factor.
The wow factor of the 3DS was pretty cool.
Shout out to Rhino Video Games.
That's right.
Yes.
That glasses-free 3D, man.
I just want to see. Is that at some CES? Is there some trade show where I can just see
people are into that
what?
anymore.
But what is the state of the tech now?
No one has updated the tech.
I'm sure somebody has. I'm sure in some laboratory, like Panasonic is like.
Are they though? Because
here
it's
we
not
go.
like something that people are.
Somebody's got
wanting. So they're trying to.
What do you know?
I don't know anything.
My mind is open. Again, I don't need that implementation
Mixed reality
of it
for
anymore.
You, perhaps.
I don't know.
As the evolution of glasses-free 3D, maybe it's
I don't know.
XR.
I don't know.
Is that what you want?
I don't know.
I don't.
Just saying.
That.
Just saying. Let's move on to the games we're playing. And as we said, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is going to be our spoiler cast game for this coming month. We're excited about that. We have some news about this game and how big of a hit it has become in the news.
Yeah.
But we can talk about our experience of playing the game right here.
Oh, man. I did not expect this to happen.
Yeah, so we saw this game for the first time where?
We saw it at the Xbox showcase in June of last year.
Last summer, the one we went to.
The one that we went to in person.
Okay, I kind of remember that now.
I remember seeing that game and thinking to myself, oh, that's an interesting premise.
Yeah.
And then our good friend Ben Starr is one of the wonderful voice actors,
Correct.
which is, I think, one of the most amazing things about this game is the voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
But he is one of the voice actors in the game. So, of course, I was like, oh, I'm going to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
This is very, I want to support Ben, obviously, because he's the best. And then the game, the reviews came out, and it was like, I think right now it is the highest reviewed game of 2025.
It's very high, yeah.
So far. It's 2026, isn't it?
It's not 2026.
It's 2025.
What did you just say?
It is the highest reviewed game of the year we're in.
Of this year.
Which is 2025. Yes. Sorry, I'm getting really confused.
Yeah, I remember seeing it at that Xbox event, and I remember the visuals were very stunning.
Yeah.
But there's always, they put so many games in those showcases, and there's always, some that's oh, is this, am I ever going to hear about this game again? Because we obviously didn't know this developer yet. Mm-hmm. It didn't have, any big publisher associated with it. So I'm I don't really know the backstory of this game. I'm curious. It's well, maybe we'll see this again. Maybe we won't. Mm-hmm. I kind of filed it away under that. Yeah,
we did see it again before the game came out at the GDC event, but we were a little disappointed because they had two stations for this game tucked away in the
very back. In the very back,
and it was just jammed with people. Yeah. So I was looking over someone's shoulder, but I didn't.
We never got on it. We never did. But maybe that's for the best.
You know what?
Preserve
I think that
your
was
experience
for the best, and then so. Yeah. Then I was like, which game are we finished Split Fiction together, and we were like, let's move on to the next thing. Right. And I was thinking, do I go back to Assassin's Creed Shadows? You were like, I don't know what I'm going to play next. And then you
I was ready to play the Oblivion remake.
I downloaded both games.
I downloaded it, and then I think that took me into the night, and then the next day I was like, all right, tonight I'm starting this. But that's when the reviews hit, and I was like, I think I need to play this, because this game is on Game Pass too.
Yeah, we're both playing on Game Pass, by the way.
We're playing both on Series S.
And it runs fantastically.
On Game Pass, we should say. Yeah.
So then you played it first, and then you were like, you have to play this game.
Right.
You need to play it right now. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I was very motivated to play it, and no spoilers, because this game has a really intriguing story that.
Check the spoiler cast.
Yes, you all should definitely experience for yourself, and then listen to the spoiler cast. We'll do it at the end of May, but I was hooked. Within the first 30 minutes.
Right.
I did not expect that at all. This rarely happens to me.
Well, why don't you say, what is the general, concept of the story of the game? You can share that at least.
Spoiler-free, general concept, sort of the premise of the story is that there's this mysterious thing that's happening where people are just poofing away at a younger and younger age.
Right.
So
there's this mysterious figure out at the distance who has a chalkboard. They write a number on it, and at the end of that year, if you were that age, you get snapped into dust.
Into beautiful artistic rose petals
Yes.
in a very emotional way. And so the name of the game, Expedition 33, is all the people that are going to be turning 33, and that is their year to get snapped.
Yes.
They call it gamage, which is...
Does that mean something as our resident French
it
speaker?
It might be a French word, but I don't actually know the exact translation. I'm going to try.
Well, you need to brush up for the spoiler cast.
I knew what Clair Obscur meant, at least.
Well, please explain for the good people. What does that mean? Because I had to look it up, and I was told that the definition was another foreign language word that I also did not know. So thanks a lot.
It's actually like a referred mostly to art, but it is the play between light and dark. And usually it's used to describe like artwork.
Yeah.
And the other word you're talking about is an Italian word called Obscuro, I think. And it's also like the idea of like light versus dark.
Right.
So anyway, so yes, these people are trying to figure out, they're trying to stop becoming poofed at the age of 33. And yeah, the very beginning of the game, they sort of present the story to you in a very like beautiful, emotional way where I was really surprised. Like usually, it takes anything like a game, a movie, a TV show, or what, like any entertainment thing. You need to get to know the characters a bit more to have any sort of emotional response to them. At least I do. But this game, like, these characters are strangers to me. I was just learning about the story. 30 minutes into this, I was, like, weeping. I was, like, a completely broken person. I was like, what is happening right now? But it was so, like, the way that they did it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I was really, really just, like, blown away by it.
Yeah, I think it's, like, one part... like the whole like backstory of the world, they're able to very like compactly explain
like,
to you like what's going on here.
Yeah.
What is the situation here? But then you have these great characters with these incredible performances.
Yes, that's
by the voice actors as well.
Amazing voice acting.
I don't know how they got this cast.
Well, first of all, the main character, we are playing, you can play the game in French, which
have you tried that at all?
I have tried it a little bit.
And?
I really like it. It's cool. It sounds so beautiful. But I also do really like the main character. Gustav is the main character.
Yes.
And his voice acting is
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox.
Yes.
Thank you.
Who's Daredevil.
And we just watched Daredevil Born Again, so we were like in our Daredevil state of mind.
Yeah.
And I love his voice.
Did you think he was American?
No, I didn't think so. He's Irish, yes?
I told you that and you were like, oh, what?
I didn't.
You thought he was British
I thought
or
it was
something.
British,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But his accent is in the game sounds not sound.
He does not sound like Daredevil.
Sound like Daredevil, and he doesn't
No.
sound Irish either.
No.
But he has a nice sounding voice. Like
Yeah.
it matches the character really
It's
well.
great, yeah.
And the voice acting for all the characters, not just because Charlie Cox is like a huge star, is incredible. Like it's truly like the acting part of voice acting is like done in a way I've never seen in a game. Like I've never experienced voice acting in this way because I was like, I'm like watching a movie right now. I'm like putting the controller down. I'm like picking up the tissues because I'm about to cry because it's so good. And also the writing in the game is so well. So like the coupled together, like the way that they're telling you the story is incredible. The gameplay too is really unique. Like, you and I are still kind of struggling to like make sense of the complex systems.
Yes, so it's a turn-based role-playing game.
Yes.
As they've said, very inspired by Japanese role-playing games.
Yep.
And yeah, every character has a very different style of playing.
Right.
And there's a lot of like very deep systems for each. And then even outside of battle, there's more very deep systems about like equipping them with little buffs and like, oh, once this person learns this buff, you can share it with other people and you can layer them however you want. But we both just reached a point in the game where you get a new character who so seems to be the most complex one yet.
Yes.
They gave you a little tutorial, a 5-minute tutorial. Like, I don't understand a word.
I read it so many times.
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
I'll be watching some YouTube videos to try and figure that out.
I like that character a lot. And that character is actually the most powerful one in my party right now. So I did add her into my party.
It's more, but I'm trying. It's more than just like attack, defend.
Oh my god,
magic.
It's so much deeper.
Yes,
like there's so much strategy in every battle. I love it.
But there are these real time elements. So like, I see a lot of people comparing it like, oh, it's like Final Fantasy. It's like, It's actually a lot like Mario and Luigi, like a Paper Mario game.
There's like the timing
in terms of the timing stuff in battle. So
there's a dodge, there's a parry, there's a jump.
Yeah, so there's 3 different ways that you can dodge attacks. And then during any attack that you're doing, there's always some button prompts with a timing thing where you can flub it.
Oh, I flub it a lot.
Or you can do it and get a bonus that way.
And even with the attacks, like you pick from a very deep menu of different things you can do. You can do like a normal attack. You can do a skill. You can like a normal turn-based game. And then when you pick that whatever attack you have, even that has sort of a quick timey kind of thing to it. You can press it and get like a perfect basically.
Right. And you're also managing
like a little bit like Mario and Luigi.
You're also managing kind of your like
attack
action points. So it's got kind of like a bravely default. It's hard to list all of the influences.
But they kind of mashed it together in a way that works really perfectly.
Right, but I feel like you could just list off so many games. Like, well, it's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit
Persona.
Right, like they've somehow like created something that's very unique through the whole thing.
And it's like I'm excited to, sometimes with these turn-based games, I find myself after a while like just running past enemies.
There's not that many enemies in this game.
Yeah.
Like they kind of make each encounter count.
And you're excited about each encounter. I truly am. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, it's so tedious. Like I have to fight another thing. It's going to be the same battle sequence again.
Yeah.
I have yet to fight an enemy or do a battle sequence that was the same.
Right. So it's obviously not random battles. You can see the enemies out there.
You can do a first strike.
You can do a first strike, but there's like we've all had that experience in the RPG where it's like battle. It's like it's never like that. It's like there's a couple bigger battles on the way to some really huge
boss fight or like a story thing.
Yeah, that keeps your excitement high, but still feels like you have enough to hone your skills and figure out what you're doing.
Yes. Like every single, I'm never trying to like skip a battle or whatever. The other thing that I really have experienced recently in this game that I really appreciate is humor. Like a lot of the times when you think about a game like this and when you have cried in the first 30 minutes of a game, you're like, oh God, is it like Last of Us? Am I going to be in for this like devastating experience for 50 hours? Like, I don't know if I emotionally can like handle this. But I just played a great stretch where it was super funny.
Right.
Like there was some really like laugh out loud like funny moments injected into it. I was meeting some new characters that were just like weird and awesome. Even like in a bit of a scary world, like some of these characters are pretty cute. Like you and I were like that.
Were you scared by that scene I was telling you that you should be on the lookout for?
I was so glad you told me because I was like, I don't like this. But then later on, this was okay. It was okay.
Yes.
I was okay.
Yes.
I was okay.
Good.
But it was great. A great sort of like refreshing thing because I had been, you're really dealing with like, oh my God, this is a heavy kind of topic.
Right. Yeah, there is like a real like undercurrent of tragedy to like the whole.
Absolutely.
And even then, like you can list through all those. There's like, well, remember Xenoblade had a similar idea of like, at this age, like Hunger Games of people like getting picked to go on this suicide mission,
right?
Kind of. And there's a lot of movies that have like experienced that as well. But that's why that makes it a real very thing. Like if you're in the sense of a tragedy, like humor can sometimes sneak out. Like that's how people can deal with it.
Well, and this is like a realistic.
It's a very real thing.
Yeah, it's a realistic way to look at the full human experience of these characters. Like they're like living this like incredibly difficult, tragic life. But obviously in those moments you're still gonna have like some injection of like humor and you're going to find some small joy like with the people around you or whatever. So I really love that. And I was like very glad to get a little bit of a reprieve from some of the heavier things that I was already seeing. The storytelling is done in a very interesting way. You do get, the cutscenes and everything, but they also show you these dreams that are very intriguing.
Yes, one of the characters has recurring nightmares.
And that's sort of giving you a clue into like what could be going on.
We don't have a clue yet.
We don't, but we're hooked.
So we're at how many hours? I think I'm at like 9 hours.
I might be a little ahead of you now because I was totally sucked in. I might be at 12, maybe.
Yeah, but it does have that Baldur's Gate thing where like you end up at the campfire and you can like talk to everybody.
You can write in your journal.
Yeah, you can have like a bit of downtime before you go out again. The other thing I really love about this is how just like unabashedly French it is.
That's like the best compliment you can give it.
That's
Yeah.
always great, where it's like, oh, this game that's made in Japan, like, oh, you can see the Japanese-ness of it, or like contrast that with something like The Witcher. It's like, oh, I can tell this is like an Eastern European game.
Yeah, or like Alan Wake,
like
or
that
something
culture
like
of it
that.
is there. So like, this game is so French, and I love that about it.
There's like this like romance and passion, and I love it so much. It's so like just even the fact that like the people that poof away turn into these beautiful rose petals, and you get this like stirring score and this moment that the camera work and the cinematography. You're like, I'm like watching like film noir right now. This is incredible.
Yeah,
it's so
and
good.
just like the decor of like the city that they live in feels extremely French. Like just like the lifestyle that they're living.
Yeah, and you see like a lot of French.
You can get a costume with a baguette. I haven't gotten any costumes
little beret.
yet. Yeah,
there's a lot of like iconic French like landmarks. Like one of the first things you see is like a broken Arc de Triomphe.
Right. So I wasn't sure, like, is this taking place in the real world or in some like other dimension?
It kind of looked like Paris, but I don't know. But they call it Lumiere.
I don't know. I found in one of the levels, I found some broken off thing and had a sign towards the Eiffel Tower. Oh. So there's
like a melty Eiffel Tower that I saw.
Something real about. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It really it's early, but I'm like, this is game of the year. I can feel it in my bones.
So we said this is running great for us on the Series S. Looks amazing.
It's on Game Pass, so if you have it, you cannot skip this game. Please go play it immediately.
There's one level where you're underwater that is very breathtaking visually.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I think I played the entire level like this. Because I was just like, this is so so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they did it. Like there's something like you're underwater, but you're like moving normally. It's not like you're like slow.
Yeah, it's not like you're swimming around.
No, you're not swimming.
The characters don't even acknowledge like, oh, we're underwater. You just are.
You just are.
You just are.
Yeah, but the set piece of it being underwater like that, and you look around, it reminds me of, we live near the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Oh yeah.
They have those kelp forests.
Right.
When I was in there, I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing.
So using Unreal Engine, I think, and the Unreal games like in the Xbox 360 area had a look where it was a little plasticky, but it was very visually impressive, but it was very plasticky and everything looked brown. And this feels like a real evolution of that, where it's like there is like a sense of realism to the characters, where like you would see the plasticiness has evolved onto that. And it's like, oh, this is also what those games would look like if you added color, because there's so much great color usage in the game. So it is a very distinct looking game, but still gives me throwbacks to some of those older games.
Definitely does. And I do like, and this is kind of gross, but I feel like they did a good job with the characters after they go on the expedition, because they're like dirty.
Well, you get like real-time battle damaged, where like if you're about to die, like your character is like bleeding profusely, like covered in
like,
dirt.
They're covered in like their hair looks
they look
gross.
nasty.
They need to take a bath.
Smell bad.
Yeah, even if you're underwater, you're still disgusting. But yeah, they do a good job of like making it feel very like, when you look at their faces, it's like smudged with dirt, all that stuff. So they have those details that you can see really clearly.
So as happens with a popular game, the discourse is underway.
Is it really?
Oh yes, it sure is.
Why? Do I want to hear this?
There's been some finger wagging of like, oh, Final Fantasy, look, you said that the people didn't want a big turn-based game. Look at this. Let's shove this in your nose. What do you think of that?
Like this is what Final Fantasy 16 should have been.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Right, that kind of thing. Sure. Or like, oh, you all thought turn-based games were dead. Look at this. Meanwhile, there's a lot of turn-based games, so I don't really see the merit of that in a world where
Metaphor
Pokemon exists.
Yeah, Metaphor came out, was nominated for Game of the Year last year.
I think that's kind of a silly thing to say.
Guys. Yeah.
It is. I have seen this game get categorized as an indie game, and
30-person team.
I don't really. It's like
small team.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, because it is
like a mid-sized.
It is a smaller team, but it's a team that we don't. I've heard that it's like a lot of ex-Ubisoft people.
Right.
I just want, this game came out of nowhere. I want to learn more about
how did you make
everything about this.
What the other thing about this game is, we are playing on Game Pass, but on Steam the game is on sale right now for $45.
Yeah, the standard price is $50. So again, because if you're, how
did you make a game
if
and
it's an
sell
indie
it
game,
for $50?
So they do have a publisher. It's not a big publisher, but like, who's paying for all these huge voice actors?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, making a game that looks like AAA visual quality. I don't know. There's a lot about this game that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, writing, scripting, like all this stuff, like the
right. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot of money to sit at a computer and bang out a story.
I mean, but just putting it all together
right.
into like a AAA experience like this, and you get Charlie Cox as your like #1 voice actor.
You also have like Andy Serkis, who's been in like Star Wars movies and Lord of the Rings and like all that stuff, and Ben Starr. I mean, Ben Starr ain't coming cheap. Believe us.
Ben Starr needs his stuff. It's very fancy.
Have you seen that man's wardrobe? My God, that stuff's not cheap.
Gorgeous stuff. Yeah, I have no idea how they made this game. I have no idea what happened. I'm so glad it exists, and I cannot believe this game is like $45. Like I can't believe it. How?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
Possible?
Well,
I can't say enough good
look
things
forward
about
to
it.
more updates on this, but not too many because we're going to save the real juicy stuff for our spoiler cast.
I just want to go back and play this for like 20 hours straight.
You've also been keeping up with the blueprints, or have you dropped off because of this?
I play the blueprints every day.
Okay.
Just a little bit every day. This is my new.
How quickly could you do a session of blueprints?
Like 25, 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
This is my new like unwind after work game.
Yeah.
Like I always play. I try to play like do something before I make dinner. Like after you like wrap up the day, like you kind of need your brain to like switch to like now I'm like not doing work anymore. So I've been playing Blueprints as a way to do that, which has been really nice. I love this game because every single time I feel like this is the end for me. I'm stuck. I can't. There's no way I can do it. I don't know what to do.
You have a breakthrough?
I have a breakthrough.
Oh, good.
It's amazing. Like I just last night when I was doing my little blueprint sesh, I had another breakthrough, and it's really interesting because this is like kind of roguelike we were saying, where like the blueprint resets each day.
Yes.
I think I'm on day like I must be on like day like 38 at this point.
Is there a limit to how many days you have?
In the trailer, it was like hundreds of days.
Okay, good.
So I'm thinking.
Good.
I'm
seeing that as a good thing.
They shouldn't do that to you. That'd be mean. Like, what if
some games do, and you have to do this within 30 days.
Too dumb to do it in 30 days. That's me. But there are some permanent things that you can like unlock that stay with you into the next day. So I've been discovering those, which I thought was really interesting. Like I did discover one room that's now a permanent fixture. I discovered something where I like unlocked this part of the game, and now it's permanently unlocked for me for every run that I do afterwards. So I'm starting to get the hang of it too, and I'm starting to get better at strategizing like where to map certain rooms. Because before I was like here, but now I'm like, okay, I need to put like the breaker room in this corner. Like I'm gonna try really hard to like finagle it so I can hopefully get that to pop up. And then like put it where I need to put it. That really gives me like an edge. And then like you can kind of figure out like, okay, this run, the items I got are these set, so I need to focus on mapping these rooms. So I've been getting really a lot better at that. And I've definitely discovered some new things. I definitely discovered some like passwords and things like that for the computer, which was really interesting. I figured out like how to calculate the date and time, which is apparently very important. I like figured that out, and I was like, oh, I understand this now. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep going. I have not I still haven't like gotten there, but at least I feel like I'm making progress. So,
okay.
Have you tried it yet?
I did download this, but no, I've had to dedicate all my time. Also, again, I didn't get a chance to play the Oblivion remake at all.
I'm too.
Before the next podcast. Before the next podcast, I will play that and have some impressions.
Oh my gosh.
But I was so excited to play that.
I know, me
and then this other game just completely swept in.
I couldn't believe how it stole my heart so fast. I don't think any game has done that in a long time. I can't remember the last game that did this.
Infinity Nikki? There's some new update. Did you check this out?
We're supposed to be playing co-op Infinity Nikki together.
What's stopping us or you?
Well, it hasn't launched just yet.
Oh, okay.
But let's do that.
Yeah, I saw there was something new along the way.
I was waiting for you so we can like hang out together in Infinity Nikki.
All right.
That'll be fun.
Good. News time. Last week, when the Switch hardware went up for pre-orders, games also did, and the truth came out.
The game
about
key cards.
which games are 100% on the game card or which are these pesky game key cards.
Yes, you did a little short video about this.
Yes.
I feel like I'm still a little fuzzy on the details.
Okay. So I will try and give you a very simple explanation,
Please.
which is you still are buying a physical game that has a cartridge. This is not this is not a piece of paper.
Yeah, better than that.
But it has a very minimal amount of data on it, and it allows you to download the rest of the game online. You do still need to have the cartridge in to play it. Different than these all pure download games. I could give you my game key card, and you could just put that in and play that. Versus,
so we can share.
Versus the virtual game like
that game sharing thing.
I don't know.
We haven't tried.
That hasn't come out yet.
Right, so we don't know what the details are and the fine print.
But I can just give you a game. You can play
a physical game key card.
You would still need to download it on your system.
Right.
But you can actually just, here you go, take this and play it.
Got it.
Versus this is like locked to your system, basically.
Okay.
And of course, people who want to buy physical, like that's what they like about it, is like I have it on here, for in the future. Everybody's thinking of the future. When those servers go offline, after the nuclear winter, I'm still going to be here playing my Donkey Kong Bonanza in my bunker, eating my 80th day straight of canned chili, room temperature.
That's what's important.
I'll have that to get me through it. And I mean, I like buying physical where I can as well.
Yeah.
But it was surprising the number of games that are going the game key route. So,
and the reason for this is that those cartridges are very expensive now.
Right. So as the games get bigger, we're on a more capable system. The file size gets larger, and you need the medium to be able to support that.
To store it.
So I do understand. Like each of these companies has some economics for themselves that they need to figure out. And it's like, what works for us to put this game on the system? I'm glad it's on the system. I mean, maybe there's some scenario where it's like, this is our only way to getting it on the system, or it's going to be digital only, or who knows? We might rethink it. But yeah, again, to our discussion of the Nintendo 64. Those big storage things, those are expensive. So it's like, well, do you want to get this game at $80 potentially? I don't know if there's any games that are that big at that price, but
do we know the price points for these game key games? So
well, let's go through
here.
So almost everything from Sega, Yakuza 0, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Sonic and Shadow Generations. We've also got Bravely Default as a game key card, Street Fighter.
Capcom Street Fighter, yeah.
Hitman. Where's Kunitsugami on this list?
Oh.
Not on the list, not included on the list.
Digital only?
And then games that are fully on the cartridge, all the first-party stuff so far. Daemon Ex Machina, Rune Factory, and Cyberpunk is coming out as the big winner. And they're actually touting this. Like, they were smart to tout this because they know like there's some portion of the fan base that is like, really, this is really important. They're like, look, we put this huge game and the DLC, and it's on the cartridge.
How much is it?
$60? 60 or 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they're charging a huge
it's not
premium for it or something.
There's no other game that's $80 right now. But I think that was a bit of a surprise that many games were taking that route.
The game key route.
So do you think you have a handle on the idea?
I get the idea, and I understand what these companies are struggling with. I get that. It's really a bottom line margins kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I understand that. It's good that the Nintendo games are fully on the cart. I think that's important for people that want to get physical, especially for first-party games. Hopefully they can continue to do that.
Yeah, I do wonder, like, is there any point where the first-party game
starts
to
I would start to get a little bit like, oh,
if it's like, okay, the next Zelda game is like, oh my gosh, this game is so big, like, and guess what? We didn't want to sell it to you. We heard you. You said drop the price, so we did, but it's on a game key card.
So what would people rather? Yeah, tell me.
Would you rather? Here's a would you rather.
Can you put answer me in the comments? Would you rather have the next Zelda game be fully on a Switch 2 cartridge but cost $100, or have it be a game key cart that costs $80?
Maybe $70.
Sure, $70.
Maybe 70 if we're going that route.
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen at all, but I think it's going to be $80.
You never know.
But
You never know.
anyways,
Yeah.
what would you rather? What would you rather? I'm a digital girl, so I can't. Really,
You don't care. You don't
I'm
care.
not bothered
No.
by this, but
Yeah,
I get the people that are bothered by it though.
It doesn't bother me that much. It just is a very simple like equation in my mind of like, well, I'll just get the digital version of these games because I don't know, this actually sounds like maybe more of a hassle versus I still need to have the thing in and I'm shuffling carts in and out versus at least with digital, you do get the convenience. It's always there.
That's my problem.
It's always available.
I lose my cartridges all the time.
And I think, I mean, it seems like for me, it's like it's just going to be the first party stuff that I'm going to be able to get physical, and that's a bummer, but it is what it is. And there will be a couple exceptions like the Cyberpunks, and I'm sure there will be others.
Are you going to get physical Cyberpunk? You think?
I mean, I've played. I don't know if I need Cyberpunk.
So you're not going to get it at all.
You need Cyberpunk.
I'm not getting physical Cyberpunk.
I'm not. I don't think I need to go out of my way because I've played.
Yeah.
That game.
But for the first party games, you're getting physical. Like Donkey Kong, you're going to get physical.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
Absolutely.
And you already have your physical. You already pre-ordered your physical version of Mario Kart.
I did at the GameStop.
Yeah, because you got base.
I said I don't want the bundle.
Right. You got the base system and a physical
Yes,
copy.
I paid the $30 more.
To get your physical
Put
Mario
my money where my mouth is.
You voted with your wallet.
Physical. Yes.
The wrong way.
I sent the wrong message.
You sent the wrong message.
Whoops.
Come on. What about the peoples? I did not do that. I paid $50 for Mario Kart.
Good for you. Back to Clair Obscur. So remember last week we were saying, oh, it's great that this Oblivion remake is coming out, but it's kind of
Is it bummer? Is it gonna like?
Is it bad that it's coming out 2 days before Clair Obscur? Is it gonna hurt the sales of that game? Turns out both games are doing great.
Everything is doing great.
So Clair Obscur sold 1 million copies in a couple days after coming out, and Oblivion is at 4 million players.
Whoa.
Obviously, it's a Game Pass heavy.
Yeah.
So they are not differentiating the units sold. But for Clair Obscur, they did say that the million does not include the Game Pass players. So that number is presumably
way bigger.
Quite a bit higher.
Quite a bit larger. Well, congratulations to both incredible games. I'm definitely going to be going back to Oblivion. I definitely want to play that game again, so I'm excited about that. I have both ready to go on my Xbox. Great to see that they're both on Game Pass, honestly.
It's a great stretch for Xbox. Who finally, again, got a little bit of heat going at the moment, and they have Doom coming out in a couple weeks.
And then they're just going to roll into their great big June showcase, I'm sure. We're going to see some more stuff.
Get some games on the Switch too. And
Phil Spencer.
And I saw that Indiana Jones had really good sales on the PS5 when it just came out there.
I'm so happy for them.
So they're doing well right now.
Yeah, good.
Ghost of Yote. Did you see this?
I did see this.
This felt a little under the radar. They snuck out this new trailer and the launch date, which is October 2nd. Mm-hmm. And is this just is this the one first-party PlayStation game we get this year?
Maybe.
Or do you think there's more? When did we learn about Astrobot last year? Was that in kind of pre-June?
It was before June. I think it was in the February. Didn't they do a PlayStation?
I think they did one in May.
Yes, it must have been that one.
Late May.
Yeah.
Because it was playable at Summer Game Fest.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think that must have been. So I guess there's still
time.
Some chance that there might be something else that we hear about before then.
Yes.
But for now, this is it.
This is it for now, and it's an October 2nd
October
game.
2nd.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the trailer?
I think this game's beautiful.
Yes.
It looks great. It definitely, we were big fans of Ghost of Tsushima, obviously. Played that game a lot, and it definitely has that same feeling. I wonder...
I know what you're going to say. Let's set this up here.
All right, go for it.
Here's what they're saying. This is what the people at Sucker Punch are saying about the game. The main theme is revenge. The character has a major traumatic point in her childhood and goes on a journey for revenge. She's chasing down this group called the Yote Six, the people who have been just tearing the place up across Japan. And it is a non-linear campaign and story. Does this remind you of any games?
So that's what I was just going to say. So this is the exact premise for Assassin's Creed Shadows, because you basically do the exact same thing as Naui, who has gone through.
Yeah, you could literally just replace this character's name.
You can replace
with the
what this
Assassin's
person's
Creed
quote
character's
instead of
name.
saying the main character
Yeah.
Atsu. You can just say the main character Naui has a big traumatic. Has big trauma in her childhood and goes on a journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's been funny to see people like leading up to Assassin's Creed. It's like, oh boy, Ghost of Yotei looks a lot similar. People are just going to wait for that. And now people are like, oh no, Ghost of Yotei is doing the same thing as Assassin's Creed. People are going to, these games are so big and like so cool, like people are going to buy them.
They're going to play it.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. But
it is interesting how close they are.
It is interesting that it is basically the same story though. And, and it sounds, I mean, even the other part of it where you're hunting down this group of warriors that have caused all this destruction. I mean, that is quite literally what you're doing in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, it really is.
And it is also non-linear. So.
Yeah. But I'm excited to play. I'm excited
I will play this
to
game.
compare and contrast, like what game does it better.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah.
That would be a great, a really fun thing for us to do.
Something I'm excited about for this game is it's in kind of I wouldn't say underrepresented, but it's in Hokkaido, which is a part of Japan that these games usually aren't set in.
You've been there before.
And I'm not sure actually what was going on in Hokkaido in this time period, because that's where it's like super cold, and I get the sense that kind of came up a little bit later than a lot of the rest of Japan.
It's a little bit detached from like the main like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka.
So was Tsushima. In the first game. That was also an unusual location and setting. So yeah, I'm very excited for this game. I will absolutely be getting it.
Yeah.
It is also interesting to see some of these publishers, they've been saying like, oh, people are terrified. They're shaking in their boots because of Grand Theft Auto. And they want to know when it's going to launch. So they've announced this. I saw Borderlands moved
up their date.
To earlier in September. So that's also a 2K game. So they would know. So maybe it's like late October or beyond. Or maybe just next year.
Maybe it's delayed.
Maybe just next year.
Which will be good for our fantasy drafts.
Yeah,
That's what we said.
That's what we said.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was delayed.
I wouldn't either.
Into Q1. But just Sucker Punch, please. Do not kill off any horses in.
You gotta stop talking. People don't want to hear you talk about that anymore.
I don't care what people want or don't want. I want to be talking about this forever.
Moving on.
Don't do it.
To the Split Fiction movie, wow.
Yeah.
This was great timing for us. This came out right before we recorded our spoiler cast. Gave us a little quick thing to talk about. But yeah, there was reports that this was getting shopped around, I think it was in like around GDC time.
Right.
And now they've got some actual names to attach to it. So Sydney Sweeney, wow, is going to be starring in the movie. And it's going to be directed by John Chu, who did Wicked most recently.
Yeah.
And also...
Crazy Rich Asians?
Thank you.
Yes.
His parents also own a local Chinese restaurant that I have been to and enjoyed.
We've been to it.
So I thought, wow.
That's right.
Local kid
hero.
Did good.
Hero. He's a great director, yeah.
And it's being written by the people who also wrote Deadpool and Wolverine, which makes a lot of sense because that's like a duo going on adventure.
Like a fun buddy comedy.
That's exactly what this is as well.
Yeah. Why can't they get like cool people like this for the Zelda movie?
We don't know anybody who's in the Zelda movie.
I mean,
what are
the
you
director.
Saying? Why can't Sydney Sweeney be Zelda? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, she'd be a good Zelda.
You got a one-track mind, Krysta.
John Chu would have been a great director. No,
okay.
I'm just kidding. John Chu probably wouldn't have been a great director for the Zelda movie.
You're not feeling bad about the Zelda director, though. You're kind of like
Wes Ball.
I mean, I haven't seen any of his movies,
Maze
but
Runner was okay.
People seemed all right about it.
Avia Rod, though, is a
all right, we're not here to talk about Zelda. We're not here to talk about Zelda.
I just think that it's great that they're making this into a movie, Split Fiction, because it is like. It's perfect.
Are you excited to see this movie?
I'm totally going to watch this movie. Are you?
I'm pretty excited for this too.
Me
I think this could be cool. I'm very curious who they cast as the other character. They haven't said
that she's Zoe.
That was funny because I think
there is a blonde character in Split Fiction. Her name is Zoe.
So we just assumed
everybody assumes Sydney Sweeney's going to be Zoe.
Sydney Sweeney's her, but they said no. They don't know.
They don't know.
They haven't decided.
We don't know who the other cast members are.
Yeah.
But obviously there's the two.
Who is Raider? That's what I need to know.
Who is Raider? Who would you want to be Raider?
Who can play a soulless middle manager?
That's kind of like funny too.
Yeah.
Steve Carell.
Oh, that's perfect, actually.
Office.
Oh, that's perfect.
Can put him glasses.
He can
give him 2 badges.
He can be pretty serious.
He can be serious and he can be funny.
Oh, that's a good choice, actually.
There you go.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
Oh, wow, you're dead on with that.
Okay. And then we need Mio. If
Yes.
Sydney Sweeney
Who is
really
Mio?
is Zoe, we need a Mio.
Who is Mio?
I don't know who Mio is.
All right.
Gotta think about that.
Looking good for this movie.
Yeah, but
I did also see,
exciting.
not to revisit Clair Obscur once again, but I think they are also making a movie of
They
that.
absolutely should.
And
Is Charlie Cox just gonna roll into Gustav?
well, I'm just saying, like,
IRL?
they should probably just let him do that role
Yeah.
when you have a very legit actor.
Yeah. I love Charlie
who I
Cox.
think could, I think he
could do it.
actually do that.
Oh, he could totally do it.
Yeah.
I love him.
Jeez.
Who's gonna play Sophie?
He's very charming.
His voice is sexy. I'm gonna say it right now. He has a sexy voice.
I'm glad to hear that.
And Gustav, I can hear him. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I like this. This is nice.
Okay.
I can hear you. I like listening to you. Like, it's
Okay.
nice.
Great.
I really
No
like
arguments
it.
there.
I really like it.
Video game movies, they're on the up and up.
I'm enamored, truly.
Zelda, though. Question marks.
He's gonna have like a teenager's like voices changing. Hi. That's the first time we hear Link
Keep
talk.
it locked to Nintendo today to hear Link talk and also guess which silhouette is Wario. Let's move on to questions from our community. We get them always from our Patreon community. Check us out at patreon.com/KitandKrysta. We're starting with a question from Everything is Awful.
Oh no.
As former Nintendo staff members, how were console launches handled in terms of availability to the staff who wanted them? Were you guaranteed a console of your own at or near launch, or did you have to wait in line like everybody else? If there was a discount for staff, how much was it? Thanks for answering.
We definitely could get one at launch.
So we did not have to brave the broken websites.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like everyone should.
That was our point.
People at Nintendo should though brave the broken websites and the retailer
Yes.
lines to just get that experience, because you don't know until you've done it.
Right.
That it's pretty awful. But yes, it was available. There was the store that you could buy from as an employee. I don't think there was ever. There was like one per person. You can't go in
No.
to like the Nintendo store and say like, I need 20 Switches
No.
and I'm gonna give it away to my family or like resell it or whatever. Like you can't do
And
that.
for anybody thinking, you cannot resell this stuff.
Oh no, you
You could
cannot.
get
You
in-
would get fired. Somebody did actually get fired
Yeah.
for reselling stuff.
Do not do that.
So don't do that. We got a 30% discount.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and
Pretty good.
Pretty good, and yeah, we did not like get any hardware for free. We bought it,
Yeah.
ourselves. I was very lucky. Again, I was at the I was at the launch event in New York for Switch, so I just bought my Switch at the store with everybody else in New York. So
Oh, you did? That's
yeah.
how you got
I think
yours?
I got mine. Yeah.
Wow. And that was true. Like when we went to the Nintendo New York store, we could show our badge
And get a little discount.
and get a discount there too, which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like later on. You could, buy you can buy games as gifts for people and things
Right,
like that.
right.
But you could not like resell. You can't like be a scalper, and like resell it.
No.
Yeah, but it was a little bit of a discount. That was nice. You could definitely get one. You don't have to wait in the crazy lines, which was nice. So yeah, that's probably how the majority of the staff that wants one will be getting the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Antifreeze is next. With the Switch 2 pre-orders and the pre-release hype all happening, I am thinking back to the Switch's release and the hype it generated with stuff like the Super Bowl commercial. How much confidence was there back then that the Switch would succeed, or was there instead fear that it would fail? That commercial to me felt pretty confident, but I assume with the failure of the Wii U, there must have been a feeling of this has to work.
Yeah, that definitely was the feeling where it's like, not only, it has to work, but it really was like, this is gonna work. Like there was a high feeling of confidence, I think, from everybody across the board inside Nintendo at the time, where it's like, yeah, we really got something this time. Like this feels right, everything about this feels right, it's easy to understand, it looks cool, we got a big, awesome game, launch day one. Like everything about this is all lined up for success. And the sort of the directive from all of the big bosses at Nintendo for launch for Nintendo Switch was like, put all your great ideas all your, big ideas into this launch. We know it's going to work. We want it to be a hit. Let's do everything that we know is going to make it like a big deal. And that was how the Super Bowl commercial came to be. It was like, please, we're open to all your big ideas. Give it to us. We'll give you the money for it. Like, we're really, like, this is the time to, if you had an idea that was big that you've been sitting on, this is the time to use it. That was the feeling.
Yeah, I think that's what made this launch so unique and makes this Switch 2 launch a little bit different is, everybody knew, like, all right, we really have to make this one work. And everybody was working together towards that goal. And everybody was really like digging deep, and it was a powerful thing for everybody to have this shared goal that they were working towards together and really pushing themselves. So it was a very special time versus, where they are now, just kind of human nature when you're at the top of the mountain. It's like, oh, do we really need to do that hard thing again? Or like, we're already here. Like, can we maybe do 10% less work and get mostly the same results?
And spend 10% less money.
Right. Or also, like, there was the factor of, like, Wii U games, like, got redirected and teams got redirected. Mm-hmm. And we kind of saw that happening with the last couple of years on the Switch where the big teams got redirected, but it was still very much like, hey, we still need to support the Switch and be having games out for that and keep people buying that because it's something that people have and that they like. So it was very different from the Wii U where it was just like, let's just get through this. Let's kind of
pull the plug on this.
Let's do the minimum on it and then just turn the page of our lives.
Yeah.
Versus this, it's like, no, we're juggling a lot of things and we're trying to make the next thing big. But we're kind of pulled in more directions than we were before.
Yeah, and I think for Nintendo too, like they're entering into what seems to be a very successful launch period. If the pre-orders are an indication and the interest that they've seen for the My Nintendo store is any indication, like they're definitely heading into a very successful launch. But I think they still have a pretty long journey ahead of them to like truly move over the entirety of the Switch 1 audience.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a different feeling kind of thing for them versus
right.
the Wii U to the Switch generation. I think that's where you're seeing the differences in the strategy and maybe why you're not seeing the big Super Bowl commercial for Switch 2. You're seeing something a little bit different. It's because they have like a slightly different goal and that challenge of moving people over is a different challenge than like, let's pull the plug on Wii U and like fully dedicate our resources into Switch.
Yeah.
So interesting to watch.
Mr. Nathan has the next question. This is the first time I did a pre-order for a new piece of hardware in a long time. I'm glad I got what I got, and being able to see how others in the Discord community were faring helped me a lot. But even though it worked out for me, I found the whole thing needlessly stressful. I found myself envious of the lottery system in Japan. Yes, they've announced that they won't be meeting demand there, so a lot of people will be missing out, but those who do get the lottery have, I assume, a pretty stress-free shopping experience. So my question for the two of you is, if you could choose, would you rather have the first-come, first-served system we have here in the US, or would you prefer the lottery system in Japan? On one hand, it's less work and less stressful, but on the other hand, you have a lot less control over the outcome. If you're good at pre-orders, you can plan to maximize your odds, but in a lottery, you're at the mercy of the random odds. What do you think, lottery or first-come, first-serve?
Well, I would argue that we had no control over our destiny in the current system that we had because
it was sub-random even.
It was sub-random, yeah, because we were to the left to the crashing websites and the potential wait in line option, physical line option. So I would absolutely choose the lottery system over what we had to deal with here.
If it's not going to work.
Right, if it's not going to work. It wasn't first come, first serve at all because it was how lucky you were where you caught the website where it wasn't crashing that moment
when it
to
had
get in. Had
the capacity for one person to get in.
A second of a view randomly clicking the button.
Add it to your cart and then not crash when you were checking out.
Yeah, get in the line and then not crash when you were in the line. It was sub random. I think the best solution that is not lottery or first come first serve is like that system you were talking about, which is like a virtual line.
Virtual line.
That works.
Right.
Yeah. Like I think Walmart's I would say out of all the bad experiences, Walmart's virtual line was probably the one that worked the best. Like, you were able to get in some kind of line, and there was a clock that told you 10 minutes until it was your turn or whatever.
Yours had a clock?
Mine had a clock.
Mine had no clock.
Well,
I did not see a clock anywhere.
Some people got a clock. I like the clock. That
would have been nice to have, actually.
So that is the experience.
As I was wondering, is this frozen? Should I refresh?
So that is the experience. Like,
Yeah.
if we could all get into an orderly
Yes.
virtual line, they had a clock that said 10 minutes until you can shop, or some indication of like you are in a line, you're going to be able to shop, whatever.
Right.
That would be really, really nice too, to be able to have that kind of system.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that,
Who knows? Maybe this My Nintendo thing is going to be like the greatest system we've ever seen, because presumably that is first come, first serve, where it's like, okay, if you're in this first, let's say, 5,000 people, we will notify you that you're ready to order. You know, versus like, I'm doing it all in the moment, the thing is crashing. It's like, it is kind of detached from the act of buying, because I'm doing something a month before to be told later, but there is some act that I'm taking that is putting me in some sort of ordered line.
grouping, yeah.
Ordered grouping versus like everything needs to happen right now.
Or else that's it.
And we're not prepared to handle it in any way.
Yeah, we'll see.
So it feels like it's all just blowing up in your face.
We'll judge the My Nintendo experience once we get to May.
And that's why the GameStop experience was so positive for so many people, because it's like, all right, I'm regaining the control.
Yeah, I'm standing in the line.
If I want to get in that line at 8 p.m. the night before, I'm going to do it.
I can.
And I will be certain that I will get that thing.
Yeah.
Versus I've been waiting to refresh this all night. I did everything that in the guides. We made a guide ourselves. And then it still didn't work. It still didn't. I felt as informed as I could be, and it still didn't work.
Yeah. I'm very curious about the My Nintendo experience. Truly, if they are working towards a future where that is the only way to get a Nintendo product, that would be really interesting to see what happens, because then they truly would gain the control of really managing this experience for people, and they would have a way to do it where people were not having a bad experience. And maybe that is the future. But yeah, we will see come May 8th how that experience feels.
Yes. Next, we have a question from Nuvo Vindi. Given how most third-party games are going to be downloads, and the Mario Kart bundle is also a download, is the eShop ready for that much traffic on launch day? I remember in the past it going down with big releases and have this feeling of dread it will happen again on June 5th. In that case, will getting the physical version of Mario Kart be a better option if the console doesn't require a system update on launch day? You asked me this yesterday, too.
I did ask you this yesterday.
So I didn't realize, again, because I was not focused on getting that system, the bundle does not have the game pre-installed?
I don't know.
So you still need to take that step to go to the shop and download it?
I don't know.
Huh.
I got the bundle, but I don't know.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
I don't know if there's fine print that we should be reading on that.
There probably is.
It would be great if it was preloaded.
I think the eShop is going to be okay. There was a series of years where
it just went down all the time.
Every Christmas Day I got the email of like, oh no, the eShop crashed. Who could have foreseen this?
And then you had to work on Christmas Day.
But then they worked it out, and that's like truly a high volume day where it's like, okay, it's a new system. Like, there's only so many of these out there. Versus 100 million people on Christmas Day all
opening a Switch,
hammering this thing. And it's also like, it is a little bit spaced out, like region to region. Whereas like, oh, it'll be out, in Japan, and there'll be a couple hours, they'll have a peak, and then there'll be a couple hours where another region will come in. And we've seen those charts.
We've seen those charts.
Where it's like, oh, look at this spike here, and then it goes down, and then, oh, this one just went online, and I think it'll be okay.
Do you think there's going to be some sort of day one patch?
Oh, absolutely. I promise you, there always is. Yeah, that's the case with the system software, because they can continue to work on it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything will have a day one patch.
I guess.
Every game you get, literally. They need it.
Can they just figure it out before they give it to
Because they have to make this thing and ship it out, but they're going to keep working on it.
Why can't you just...
This is going to make it good versus janky. You should be glad that they're continuing to work on this.
You should just have it perfect before you ship it out.
Wow.
Just saying.
Krista's point of view. Be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the Asian point of view.
Just like your
my mom.
spelling and math skills.
It's my mom's.
Right?
my
I'm giving you a
mom's
spelling bee right now. Let's see how perfect you get. No, we're moving on. Question from Test Scoop. That comes first. From a marketing perspective, when is it apt to slap the word remaster on a title? In recent years, we've seen this moniker granted to titles such as Metroid Prime Remastered and Oblivion Remastered. These aren't mere remasters going above and beyond with the full remake treatment glow up. I can't help but feel like this remaster labeling is a disservice or undersell to such titles. Other remakes simply reuse the original title, Super Mario RPG, or attach an HD to the name, or get cute with it, like Reloaded, Rehydrated / Reignited. Does marketing have any say in the game titles for their respective region? How would you personally have titled these releases if not remastered?
Yeah, there is this difference of definition, I think.
There is no definition.
Well, there is no definition, but there's a difference in people's minds in terms of the word remaster and remake.
Do you have one? What does it mean to you?
Well, remastered means that you just basically like take the exact same game and make it look nice. A remake is like Final Fantasy VII, where you have like completely changed the game and make it look pretty and nice.
I don't know. For me, like there have been so many implementations. I actually don't really. I feel like they both basically mean the same thing to me because there have been so many games that have blurred the lines. It's like I just need to look closely at this to understand what exactly is happening.
I think
which is unfortunate.
I think the only reason this happened to me is because Final Fantasy VII Remake is the name of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and in my brain now, because that game is titled that is the definition of a remake.
It would be nice if there was a bit more shared understanding of the parameters of what each of these things means, but unfortunately there isn't. So I mean, that's just my advice: is just look, don't assume.
Do your own
based
research.
on the naming.
Yeah.
I mean, I like things like definitive edition. Like, there's got to be some other phrasing to just indicate like
this is the one to play.
This is a great new version of this game you already had and loved. And not get down to the semantics of like, well, is it a remake or this is like, is a hot dog a sandwich? At a certain point, I don't care. I hate those type of questions. You know me. I really hate those. It's like, I don't even want to answer it. It's a dumb question. Like,
there's no such thing as
it's something I put in my mouth and I eat. This is a video game that I'm going to sit down and play. What it is, I will decide.
You want to decide?
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Is it making me excited to play it?
There's a layer of money attached to it too. Though.
How?
Well, sometimes when games are remastered, not remade, it's cheaper. Because you didn't have to do as much work to do it. If you're just making it look prettier and adding some modern controls, it's not as much work as Final Fantasy VII, where they freaking redid the whole thing.
I'm sure you could come up with examples.
I think that's why.
To argue that either way.
I think that's why. People want to know like what the value of it is, you know? But I agree with you. I think the way that you should handle that is look for yourself and you determine yourself if this is worth your money. Like if you're like, I don't need to play this game again just because they made it pretty. I'm not willing to pay $50 for a game that I've already played beginning to end and they've made pretty, like then don't buy it. But if you're like, that is worth it to me, like I love this game and I want to see it pretty, then I'll play it.
Definitive edition.
I don't think that's a good name.
There it is. Why not?
Because that can mean a lot of things. That can mean like a game.
Well, so does this.
That can mean like that to me, Definitive Edition means more like this is a game that had a ton of DLC and we've included it all in one game. That's what that means to me. But I think that the point
Game
of
of the Year edition?
Again, it's one of those things where
you don't
it's
see
like,
that very much anymore.
You don't see that
You
very
don't see
much.
that very
And
much
also,
anymore.
not a lot of games get Game of the Year. So if you didn't get Game of the Year, you can't.
Well, I like
that.
it when games that did not. They just add. This was Game of the Year.
Oh, that's
and
brazen.
they just use that phrasing whether it was Game of the Year or
Oh,
not.
that's brazen. You shouldn't do that. That's lying. That's false advertising. That's false advertising.
Well,
but yeah, that's
many different opinions on this, which is clearly how we got in this problem in the first place. Yes.
There's no like standardized definition.
Boycott? Is that the answer?
Get mad.
Boycott remasters and remakes.
Drop the remasters. Drop the remakes.
The price.
Drop.
Yes, stop doing it.
Pound the table.
Thank you. VGM Life has our final question. You recently suggested Nintendo should send out Switch 2 demo kiosks to retailers ASAP. Any idea why they haven't done so? And do you remember the first demo kiosk that wowed you? I can still remember playing Mario 64 at a kiosk in Toys R Us and being blown away by the ability to move around so freely in 3D. That could have been you. That you were boy crazy or something.
I wasn't boy crazy.
This is what was taking all your attention.
That's not true.
I'll bet it was.
If I was boy crazy, I probably could have gotten some boys by playing Mario 64.
There
actually,
we go.
So
there we
I
go.
wasn't. It proves that I wasn't.
Hanging out at this Toys R Us.
It proves that I wasn't.
Yeah.
I think they're scared of leaks. Is what it is.
Terrified, actually.
Terrified. So they can't do it right now because someone's gonna like break into that thing.
No, I remember like with the Switch one, it was
late.
There was something that they could only start at a certain point, and then it was like, oh, it's a mad race to get it finished at launch. Like there are some things that they simply
like
cannot do.
Things.
Right, there's some things they simply cannot do. And they also need like to get the systems and have those like ready to go and installed.
And installed in the little the little kiosks and stuff.
When they have these out, that will be literally as fast as they're able to do them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like whatever timeline they're on to make sure that there's not like a situation where there's leaks or it's somewhere where it's not secure and it's pre-launch and there's like problems, you know? And they got to get those people, they physically have people go out there to install these. Mm-hmm. So it's a big feat for them to do.
Yes.
Obviously mine is DS, so I'm not going to talk about that again. That was exactly what happened to me with DS.
For me, it was not a traditional demo kiosk, but I do remember for the Virtual Boy, they made a big push for you to rent it at Blockbuster.
Oh,
and you got a giant Pelican case.
It was like a briefcase.
A large padded briefcase that had a Virtual Boy in it.
I totally remember that.
And I did that for a weekend, and I thought, well, boy, am I glad I didn't spend hundreds of dollars. I'm glad I tried it, but I'm glad I didn't spend hundreds of dollars on this.
Your eyes were never the same
right.
again.
I still don't wear glasses. I'm all right.
Blew out your corneas.
I'm good.
Your rods and cones.
I'm good.
They're dead.
Yeah.
In the eyes.
There you go.
There you go.
Those are all of the questions. Thank you to everybody for sending them in. And don't forget to check us out at patreon.com/KitandKrysta. Get the early access to these podcasts.
Spoiler cast.
Get the spoiler cast. Get the bonus Q&As. Get the gameplay videos. Get it all. Patreon.com/KitandKrysta.
So much exclusive content on the Patreon.
There's a lot.
It's amazing stuff. We're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads.
Also, if you're watching this on video on YouTube, we'd love it if you could subscribe to this channel.
Please subscribe because we're really close to 100,000.
We're starting this now.
We're starting this now.
Okay.
We are starting that. We need the help.
Okay.
Smash that subscribe
Tell
button.
a friend.
Please. Smash it as hard as you can.
Leave a comment, all of that. Also on audio, if you're listening on audio, all of our great audio listeners, you can subscribe as well. Give the podcast a 5-star rating and leave a written review, if you please. Love that. Also, this is around the time last week we were hearing that ice cream truck. I don't hear anything. It's not there. It's not coming anymore.
Why?
It's done. Why was it here in the first place?
It's not even summer yet.
I don't know.
Do you think it'll come more in the summer?
Oh, when the weather's better, maybe.
The weather's pretty nice today.
Interesting.
Oh man,
Sorry
that was
to burst your bubble.
Thing.
Sorry.
That was so great.
Yeah.
I loved it. All right, let's shout out some beautiful superstar beautiful Patreon subscribers.
You got caught, exposed in 4K. You got caught.
What? You're really throwing me for a loop here.
Aaron Hash, that's what we're here
Final
to say.
Boss, Aaron Hash, also in 4K.
Yes,
okay,
we've been sharing all the trials and tribulations of pre-ordering with Aaron Hash.
Aaron Hash got a pre-order.
Worked great for Aaron Hash. That's what happens when you're the final boss. Make things happen.
That's right. He was like, if you didn't get one, I'll give it to you. I'm like, oh, so nice. Superstars, Ben Icorn.
Mara Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up, _
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of wins.
Angela Bycroft.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Crashuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
40 Gig.
Travis Torline.
Echo Ladare.
That's so Linnell.
MSM Poke Gamer.
Cameron.
R. Burns.
Igami.
And Kit 10K.
Not you.
Welcome the new superstars, Igami and Kit 10K.
Welcome.
But it's Kit like the Knight Rider car, not Kit like me.
That's
Two
right.
T's. Two T's.
Two T's.
Different. I do like Kit 10K though. That's a good name.
Good name. That's good.
All caps
Igami
too.
is a good name. Igami sent me a great photo to use in the. You'll see it here.
Wonderful.
It's great. Okay. One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Ali Alejandro.
Ali.
Andy Peachy.
Andy Robinson.
Angela.
Aristu.
Astro Dev.
Awesome 46.
Axel
Barnstorm.
Bates.
Ben JB.
Ben McKee.
Big and Gamer with a Y.
Brandon Kavapel.
Brent Dennison.
Brian Decker.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Dash.
Bucky Flores.
Shadir.
Shelly Squirrel.
Crispy Saurus.
Chris Galvin.
Christopher Lay.
Cosmic Titan 718.
Captain Alex.
C Roper 17.
Dog DeLeo.
Dallas E.
Daniel Phillips.
Dawson.
Delving with Difford.
Debbie P.
Doinko.
Dre.
Duck.
Dad Life. Trilek.
Eccentric Tony.
Elite Peach.
Elizabeth Speltz.
Sparts 50.
Fairbound.
Freddy and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Funky Hand.
Gamers Like Anime.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Gin Wolf.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hoving.
Jack 95.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clemens.
Ginger Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Jay Wolf.
Callan CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kevin Moreno.
Kilo Kibo.
Christorati Kid.
Christopia Party with Me.
KS3261.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle 325.
Kyle Krutzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee. Lex.
Leviahu. Lightwood.
Link 9898.
Lil Mikey.
Linko.
Light Latte.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luigi 53.
Luke Hayabusa.
Luna N.
Luna B.
Luna V.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Mario Man 392.
Mark S.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
May plus Leon.
Michael Mazer.
Michael O'Hara.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pond.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
My Tran.
Nimi.
Nasir.
Nigba Reeves.
Naif E.
Ninja 11.
Noah San.
Omega Index Card.
Pangy.
Paperboat.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gill Network.
Pokedigifan 20.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Rain Tech.
Record Rumble.
Rick Alvarado.
Rob M.
Rob O.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Rusty Shackleford.
Ryan Hayes 521.
Ryan Haas.
Ryanetta.
Sage Gamer.
Sebastiano Garace.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Schnozzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Starman DX.
Steel Strone.
Steven Johnson.
Stephen Rockoff.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Cakers.
The Quiet One.
The Sir OT.
The Shark Among Men.
The Schmidt one.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Torcheeks.
Totally Dread.
Totemaru.
Trajowie.
Trev Tendo 88.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Geis.
Uncle Jungle.
Victor MK.
Video Game Stupid.
Vigmictor.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
WG Grizzy.
Wayu.
Wicked Davy.
Zachary S.
Zelgarath.
Zapatty.
Zero Link.
That's right.
You seem to be unraveling at the end of this
Whoa.
podcast.
It was really
What happened to
long.
you? I can go for another 2 hours.
You can?
Yes, we're just
I need
getting started.
Ice cream.
Oh, there's no ice cream. You're bummed out about the
You're
ice cream.
sad.
That's what it is.
Do you think it's coming back ever?
Nope.
Maybe we should call Mr. Softy.
Don't do that.
Why not?
Call Mr. Is this Mr. Softy?
Hello? Am I speaking with Mr. Softy?
Oh boy, time to stop.
We need to stop. Okay, that was fun. Thank you so much for being here with us. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.